Really? This many people ganging up on one? Geya go challenge this weak little kid. I want to see who dares to challenge you. I'll challenge him first. Since when did Miao Cheng heaven become so easy to abuse? A cold contemptuous voice sounded. Xiong Changyong and Yin Hui immediately shut up. Really? This many people ganging up on one? Geya go challenge this weak little kid. I want to see who dares to challenge you. I'll challenge him first. Since when did Miao Cheng heaven become so easy to abuse? A cold contemptuous voice sounded. Xiong Changyong and Yin Hui immediately shut up. They couldn't mess with this person, the number one master below status immortal in Miao Cheng heaven, Di Wenchen. He was one of the sect members in the number one sect in Miao Cheng heaven, Ju Qian Emperor sect. Li Kuan raised her eyebrow and wanted to talk but was stopped by Yimo's sister Shi Yu. You don't need to come, I'm fine. Yimo's killing intent soared. Being forbearing constantly on this ship wasn't the way to go. If he was by himself, it was fine, but he had friends here too. His spirit sense cultivation method had been exposed by that immortal king. Even if he kept laying low, Hua Rushua would tell everyone, so he might as well be straightforward. Hurry up, my time is limited. Yimo landed on the stage and said calmly to Geya. Geya was very excited. He didn't expect that after being challenged by so many people, he would get the sympathy of Di Wencheng. With this, he immediately flew on the stage. If you admit defeat now, you still have a sliver of chance otherwise. Don't blame me for killing you like a chicken, Geya said. If there wasn't Xiong Changyong and Li Kuan and them supporting Yimo, he could have attacked already instead of making him admit defeat. Di Wencheng was getting impatient. He said to Geya uncomfortably, since you challenged him, then take out your full power. Kill what needs to be killed, there's nothing to fear. With this, Geya's only sliver of worry was gone. Before Yimo answered him, he took out a 10-meter-long black spear. Tens of thousands of spear shadows appeared out of nowhere as killing intent spread. Yimo was a straightforward person. He didn't plan on holding back. His battle experience was ample and his spirit sense and immortal essence was far beyond Geya's. He didn't even wait for Geya's killing force to send out a punch. Thud Yimo almost used full power. With this, tens of miles around the stage were encompassed by his fist wind and heaven-covering killing intent completely covered that unformed spear force. Even the immortals below the stage subconsciously skipped a heartbeat as though this punch was coming at their chest. When Di Wencheng saw this punch, his face changed. He was the number one great immortal of Miao Cheng heaven. Of course he knew the power of Yimo's punch. This was a god art punch. It was unstoppable. Rumble Geya's spear was swept by the fist wind and become thousands of times heavier. He couldn't even lift it. Crack the fist wind struck the spear and a huge explosion sounded. Geya's face changed and burned his immortal essence. If his spear was caught by the fist force, he would only be able to await death. The terrifying killing intent was brought over by Yimo. Geya wanted to break free but it was too late. An invisible killing force whirlpool swept up like a disc and crushed down. Geya found it was hard to breathe as though a huge disc had landed on his chest. Thud thud, the sound of space exploding grew louder and Geya's pupils dilated as though he felt the kai of death and destruction. Geya was completely dazed. Was this punch made by a great eternity immortal primary stage or an immortal king? How was there such terrifying fist god artifact? I admit defeat, Geya called in horror, but soon he found his voice was enveloped by the killing force and couldn't make a sound. Thud the whirlpool struck Geya head-on. Blood and flesh flew everywhere and instantly disintegrated amidst the whirlpool. A black spear was shot up 100 meters high before landing and piercing into the corner of the stage while wobbling. Clank a storage ring fell onto the stage making a crisp sound. The killing force whirlpool disappeared and the stage returned to being calm. Geya was gone, only piles of blood and the spear remained. The area was silent, everyone stared at Yimo in shock. At this moment, Yimo reached out an immortal essence hand and grabbed the storage ring. It was like a person walking under the afternoon sun and found a storage ring on the road, so he picked it up peacefully and calmly. There was silence. A Great Eternity Immortal primary stage used one punch to instant kill a Great Eternity Immortal tertiary stage who challenged him. He didn't use any schemes nor magic artifact, he used his punch. A few seconds later, a shocking applause erupted outside the stage. The battle process wasn't fascinating at all, but no one believed this battle wasn't exciting. Everyone thought they had never seen such a magnificent punch nor such a god artifact. Perfect, amazing, praises sounded. This was a world of the strong, only strong people were recognized and supported. No one would remember the defeated dead. Imo breathed easy. He saluted with his fists to the people off the stage. He didn't feel he did wrong. His opponent wanted to kill him, he didn't need to act cowardly. He might be in danger if he exposed his strength, but so what? At least no one dared to do anything to him on the ship. He just needed to be careful in the void. As for Qing Wei Heaven, he would be able to go anywhere. Li Kuan clenched her fist, she was full of pride. She knew Yimo could do it. She knew that Yimo's power was many times stronger than when he fought Ming Cai. She was certain Yimo didn't hide his cultivation level before, but she wouldn't tell anyone this secret. Qi Baitsang stared at Yimo in shock before murmuring, "I finally understand." He finally understood why Yimo could persuade Xiong Changyong to apologize. This punch was too terrifying. Facing against such a punch, Xiong Sihangyong would have to apologize if he didn't want to die. Ji Shu and Yin Hui also stared at Yimo in shock. Even though Ji Shu knew Yimo was immortal nirvana body peak, he didn't dare to believe Yimo's punch was this powerful. If he knew Yimo was actually immortal spirit body, perhaps he would be more shocked. Xiong Chongyong breathed slowly, he knew he was very smart in his decision. Yimo could indeed easily kill him. Hua Rushue opened her mouth in shock, she suddenly felt that Yimo's secret wasn't just spirit sense cultivation method, he definitely had more. Yang Zhoutian at one corner saw the battle and frowned. He knew Yimo's power and wasn't surprised Yimo could kill Gya in one punch. He was worried that more people would notice Yimo after this, and that wasn't good for him. Yimo had Spirit Will 9 transformations, World Rock and maybe even Time Formation Disc as well as his space-time boat. He didn't want them to be taken. Di Wancheng's face sunk, he felt this Great Eternity Immortal primary stage was strange. Even he wouldn't be able to easily stop that terrifying god artifact fist. He stared at Yimo coldly, thinking whether he needed to kill this threat on the stage. Di Wencheng was thinking if he should challenge Yimo when he suddenly felt Yimo's eyes glance past him. His eyes were very placid and there was not a sliver of killing intent, but Di Wencheng felt his body go cold. He had the feeling that Yimo was waiting for him to challenge him. Di Wencheng was thinking if he should challenge Yimo when he suddenly felt Yimo's eyes glance past him. His eyes were very placid and there was not a sliver of killing intent, but Di Wencheng felt his body go cold. He had the feeling that Yimo was waiting for him to challenge him. Di Wencheng clenched his fist and gave up on the thought. He had to investigate this Great Eternity Immortal primary stage clearly before killing him. This was his habit, he didn't like doing things he didn't have confidence for. The best thing was to kill Yimo in the void. Seeing Di Wencheng not planning to come up, Yimo was a little disappointed. He didn't release any killing intent so he could kill Di Wencheng. Since he already offended Di Wencheng, he didn't need to be scared. Di Wencheng's sect might be very powerful, but so what? He was on the immortal ship now. No matter how powerful that sect was, they couldn't immediately come to this immortal ship in the void, right? If that Uncle G wanted to kill him in the void, perhaps he could only run away. If he killed Di Wencheng before running away, there would be a less powerful opponent to challenge Li Kuan and them. Seeing Yimo instantly kill Gya, no one dared to go up the stage and challenge him. There was only sighs of amazement and congratulations. Qi Baitsang and them went up immediately to congratulate Yimo Ning Yu. Do you know where this Yimo came from? Fang Chen stared at Yimo and asked Ning Yu. Yimo used him once and he felt a little uncomfortable. He was planning to teach Yimo a lesson if he saw Yimo alone. When he realized he might not be a match for this great eternity immortal primary stage, he was very shocked. Ning Yu frowned. I don't know, Shiyu brought Yimo over and said he was her brother. I thought Yimo was her Dao partner, but later, I realized Yimo really was her brother. I didn't ask how her brother came to be, he seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. Then can you help me ask Marshall's sister Shiyu who this Yimo is? He's too mysterious. Such terrifying power and he seems so young, he's definitely not an solo cultivator. If this person is an solo cultivator, then the Emperor sect people really lack eyes. I believe no Emperor sect would let go such a prodigy. Fang Chen said again. Ning Yu nodded. I'll ask Shiyu when I have time, but she seems to be very protective of him, she might not tell me. Fang Chen nodded and said I heard Mi Yun seemed to have sat in Yimo's room for a long while. What did she do? What? Ning Yu called out in shock. I'll go ask her. Then she quickly turned to run. Fang Chen didn't leave with Ning Yu and just looked at Yimo in contemplation. Yimo didn't go celebrate with Qi Baitsong and them. He chose to go into solitary cultivation. He promised Li Kuan that he would come out in half a month. He wanted to ask Li Kuan to go check the auction for him, but then he was afraid it would affect her after he ran through the void. He had decided to find little immortal King Lu Mang when they were searching for void flying snow. Yimo collected his things and found that including GEYA's 1 billion immortal crystals, he had 6 billion immortal crystals. He didn't even dare to think about this figure before, but now he reached it. Even if he was a level 7 immortal pill great master, it wasn't easy to get this amount by selling pills. Plus, ordinary immortal pill masters have a success rate of pill concoction. Seeing some of the forgery journals in GEYA's storage ring, Yimo realized that GEYA was an immortal forgery great master. No wonder the guy could recognize the pill cauldron was a low-grade god artifact. After organizing his immortal crystals, Yimo took out that rusty pill cauldron. The rust were all just restrictions, only those experienced in formation and restriction could see something. As for Hua Rushue, it was probably due to her auntie. Yimo was an immortal formation great master who could barely set up level 5 immortal formation. 10 days later, Yimo completely refined the restriction outside. When the rest fell, an ancient pill cauldron appeared on his hands. The pill cauldron even emitted a faint herbal aroma. One could see that this pill cauldron had concocted countless pills before. It had much less restriction than the replica spacetime boat, but even so, Yimo estimated he would need half a month to refine all these restrictions. In the next few days, Yimo found a random stealth cultivation method and used the 3 birth chant to change it. He was planning to give it to Mi Yun Saint. After doing these, Yimo opened his room restriction and saw Mi Yun walking around his door. Seeing Yimo's room open, she immediately greeted up. Yimo knew what she wanted and smiled. Marshall sister Mi Yun, please come in. Mi Yun quickly entered and helped Yimo put on the restriction before saying awkwardly, Mi Yun, congratulate Marshall brother, ye showing your power and instantly killed a shameless person. Yimo just took out a jade slip and gave it to her. This stealth cultivation method is slightly different to what I use, but it's rather good. Seeing this, there was surprise and joy, but when she heard what Yimo said, the joy turned to a sliver of disappointment. Clearly, Yimo didn't give her the jade slip she wanted. Yimo knew why she was disappointed but couldn't be bothered explaining. He wasn't familiar with her. Giving her a jade slip he had derived for 5 days was enough to repay what she did. If she still wasn't satisfied, then sorry. Her disappointment quickly disappeared and she took the jade slip. She forced a happy look and said, thank you Marshall brother ye. Then she scanned her spirit sense in. Soon her face showed real surprise and joy. This was definitely what she wanted. Even if Immortal Monarch didn't use spirit sense to specifically check, they might not be able to see her real power. Mi Yun, thank Marshall brother ye. Mi Yun put away the jade slip and genuinely thanked Yimo. Yimo just smiled and casually asked Marshall sister Mi Yun, did anything important happen on the ship during my solitary cultivation? Mi Yun shook her head. No, the ship is about to stop in a day, we're at the place to catch void flying snow. More importantly, the hottest topic for discussion is your one-punch killing GEYA. Many people from Miaocheng Heaven want to challenge you but was suppressed by Di Wencheng. Then, she thought of something and quickly said, by the way, after you went into solitary cultivation, The top deck of the ship help a high-level auction. High-level auction? Yimo asked in confusion, but his heart was overjoyed. Yeah, I went into that auction. Many high-level things came. There were 3 extreme-grade immortal artifact, 1 extreme-grade immortal artifact flying ship that can cross the void. On top of that, a level 8 immortal spirit beast core came out too, Yun said. There was also a level 7 immortal pill, Yi King pill, and a 5-element stool. It said an immortal monarch was auctioning that. Yun continued to talk, but Yimo's heart was overwhelmed. He almost couldn't control himself. That 5-element stool might be the one he wanted. If he obtains it, then his golden page world would be complete and become a true chaos world. Thinking about this, Yimo was excited, but Yun stopped there. Yimo quickly asked Martial sister Yun, what is that 5-element stool for? What price was it sold for? Yun said the starting bid was too high and didn't get sold. The immortal monarch asked for 1.5 billion immortal crystals and a middle-grade immortal range. No one could even afford the starting price. It said that the immortal monarch wanted to sell this and went to many auctions but never succeed. Hearing this, Yimo's heart went cold. He was 70% certain that this immortal monarch was fishing for those idiots who had stools too and wanted to complete it. Yimo rejoiced he didn't go to the auction now. If he did, if he even just gave the stone stool a weird look, he might be noticed by the immortal monarch lurking on the side. Yimo rejoiced he didn't go to the auction now. If he did, if he even just gave the stone stool a weird look, he might be noticed by the immortal monarch lurking on the side. Yimo really wanted to ask what the immortal monarch looked like and what the stone stool looked like, but he knew if he did, Yun would definitely become suspicious. Yun was very excited about the jade slip. When she calmed down, she would think about why he cared so much about the stone stool. Thinking about this, Yimo kept asking about the Yi King pill. Yun felt it was normal that Yimo cared so much about the Yi King pill. After all, almost everyone going to Qing Wei Heaven was going for the Peng Yu immortal fruit, which is the main ingredient for the Yi King pill. Just when Yimo didn't want to keep talking, his restriction moved again. Yimo opened and found it was Li Kuan and Ningyi Yu standing at the door. Li Kuan went in seeing Yimo opened the restriction, but Ningyi Yu didn't come in and just stared at Yimo coldly and then looked at Yun. Martial brother Yi, thank you, I'll be going first, we'll talk if we have time. Yun greeted Yimo and Li Kuan before getting up to leave. Yimo ignored Ningyi Yu and closed the door again. Seeing that Yimo didn't even invite her in, Ningyi Yu's face was bad. Martial sister Ningyi Yu. Yun greeted. Yun, how dare you, do you not know what a saint should be doing? As the ethereal immortal pond saint, you cast aside your guardian and often go into other men's rooms, you're not following the rules at all. Yun's face sunk too and stared coldly at her. You're a mere core disciple and you dare to talk to me like this? Ningyi Yu's face changed and immediately remembered she was no longer saint. She was indeed way over the line to speak to Yun like that. Yun said coldly again, as the saint of ethereal immortal pond, I know what I should do. I don't need you to teach me. But you went so close to a man when you were a saint and you dare to criticize me about this. Yun sneered and ignored Ningyi Yu as she walked off. Brother, if you really like Yun, Yimo waved his hand before Li Kuan finished. Sister Shiyu, you think too much. It's not what you think it is. I have no fetish for saints. Plus that woman doesn't look as easy to talk to as she seems, don't worry. Li Kuan nodded and said no more. She knew Yimo wouldn't lie to her. If she was to choose a Dao partner for Yimo, she would rather choose Ningyi Yu than Yun. Sister Shiyu, you came to me probably because it's time for capture void flying snow, right? Yimo asked. Yes, there's one more day and the ship would be stopping. I'm worried that Di Wencheng would be harming you. Be careful. I also heard about what happened at the marketplace. I can also enter the void when we go capture void flying snow. Be careful of Hua Rushue. Li Kuan seemed very worried. Sister Shiyu, don't worry, I have my own way. The Spirit Will 9 transformations is very useful in capturing void flying snow. Oh, and this. Yimo gave a copy of how to capture void flying snow to Li Kuan. I know. I would be entering second transformation of Spirit Will 9 transformations soon. This is indeed a top-grade spirit sense cultivation method. Li Kuan said, excitedly thinking about the use of the spirit will 9 transformations. Yimo could give such cultivation method to her, meaning he didn't doubt her at all. Brother, we both have spirit will 9 transformations. If we work together we can definitely get more void flying snow. I believe other people would be working together too. One can't reach top 1000 alone. We'll work together. I'll give all the void flying snow I get to you and you can see the immortal emperor. Yimo quickly stopped her sister Shiyu. Even if someone goes, it's you not me. Brother, I'm Long Yu Immortal Mountain sect members. If I get the fruit, it might be taken by the sect, but you're different. You will eventually become level 7 Immortal Pill Grandmaster. Once you do you can use it to forge Yi King Pill. Just give me one then. Li Kuan quickly said. Yimo smiled. Sister Shiyu, I'm actually level 7 Immortal Pill Grandmaster already, I just need the fruit. Li Kuan got up in surprise and joy. Yimo only used a few years to reach level 7 Immortal Pill Grandmaster. This meant that her brother didn't need to rely on anyone to buy pills, he could reach the peak himself. Li Kuan grabbed Yimo's hand in excitement. Great, this is great. But I don't want to go see those Immortal Emperor. Yimo said seriously. After seeing 2 Immortal Monarch primary stage masters, he felt threatened by Immortal Emperor. It was best not to go see Immortal Emperor if he wasn't Immortal King yet. Why? Li Kuan looked at Yimo in confusion. Most Great Eternity Immortal would do anything to see Immortal Emperor. Sometimes, one word from Immortal Emperor might solve a problem a Great Eternity Immortal was troubled with his entire life. Yimo said without hesitation. Sister Shiyu, I'm too weak and my cultivation method is special, I don't want the Immortal Emperor to notice me. Li Kuan understood what Yimo meant and nodded. I understand. If I can get the Peng Yu immortal fruit, I'll leave one for you. The two discussed some specifics of capturing void flying snow before eventually deciding Yimo to act alone. Li Kuan would stay with the Changrong Heaven team. A day later, the immortal ship stopped and a few 100,000 immortals went onto the deck. Yimo followed the Changrong Heaven immortals. Soon, a powerful Kai came. An ordinary man in blue robes landed at the top of the deck. Just standing there, it was as though all the Kai in the world circulated around him. Yimo knew this was an illusion as this person's power was just too powerful to him. This was countless times stronger than an Immortal Monarch primary stage. Yimo guessed it was probably an Immortal Emperor. Yimo immediately looked down and didn't even dare to use Spirit Sense to check this Immortal Emperor's power. Everyone can call me Mi Quan Immortal Emperor. Although I just reached Immortal Emperor for 1,000 years, but I need to tell everyone that if status Immortal and Great Immortal is the biggest milestone in the Immortal realm, the difference Immortal Emperor and status Immortals is a natural chasm. Today, capturing the flying snow is your first step towards status Immortal. Yimo was shocked. This Mi Quan Immortal Emperor was only an Immortal Emperor for 1,000 years, he was definitely an Immortal Emperor primary stage. An Immortal Emperor primary stage didn't even intentionally exert his pressure and he was this powerful, then how terrifying would Feng Kong Grand Emperor and the other Immortal Emperor tertiary stages be? If he saw those Immortal Emperors, there was very high possibility he would expose his Golden Page world. He was one in a few 100,000 facing Mi Quan Immortal Emperor. If he saw Feng Kong Grand Emperor, it would be 1 in 1,000. Of course some people don't need this to gain their fortune to Immortal King, but now, there are less and less opportunities to reach Immortal Emperor. The most direct way is to go to Qing Wei Heaven and see Immortal Emperor. So I hope everyone can catch more void flying snow here. I also need to warn all Immortal King and Immortal Monarch on the ship, you can go into the void too, but if any status Immortal dares to attack a Great Immortal, death. Mi Quan Immortal Emperor's last sentence was full of cold killing intent. Some Immortal King and Immortal Monarch even shivered. Even though Mi Quan said this, Yimo didn't plan to leave his life to this sentence. If an Immortal King wanted to kill him, would this Immortal Emperor be watching on the side? The time limit is 3 months, now the ship restriction will open, Mi Quan Immortal Emperor said. The Great Eternity Immortals all entered the void, Yimo followed them into the void too. A very ordinary Great Eternity Immortal tertiary stage squeezed behind Yimo and went into the void with him. The great eternity immortals all entered the void. Yimo followed them into the void too. A very ordinary great eternity immortal tertiary stage squeezed behind Yimo and went into the void with him. Yimo's spirit sense casually scanned his spirit sense and saw that he was marked by spirit sense mark. Yimo didn't remove it and just sneered. He even found that half-divine spirit sense, a mere great eternity immortal, dares to mark his spirit sense mark. Going into the void, Yimo didn't go with Li Kuan and them, he left quickly alone. Half an hour later, he placed that spirit sense mark in a jade box. If it wasn't that Yimo didn't who marked this spirit sense mark, he wouldn't take it off at all. If it was by little immortal King Lu Mang and Di Wencheng, he wouldn't be scared at all. If it was marked by Hua Rushue, he would need to worry about that Uncle G. Yimo released the space-time boat replica. He wanted to test this thing's speed. After Yimo mobilized the boat, it just shook in the void and instantly disappeared from its spot. Yimo scanned his spirit sense out and didn't feel used to this, it was too fast. It had all sorts of heaven domain directions clearly pointed. Yimo rejoiced this. This thing was a necessity for running away. A low-grade god artifact was this terrifyingly fast. Just how powerful would the real space-time boat be? A day later, Yimo got off the space-time boat. He knew he was far from the immortal ship. If he kept going, he might lose contact with the immortal ship. Just one day and Yimo felt that he wouldn't be able to reach this far even if he flew on Blue Moon for a month. Yimo put away the space-time boat and took out that jade and set it next to an asteroid and bound the asteroid. Then, he chose a rather far place and started catching void-flying snow. He was fishing, he didn't know who would be coming. If it was Immortal King level he would leave immediately. If it was below Immortal King, he would fight first no matter who it was. Yimo was just ready and his spirit sense caught a white color flash. Yimo knew it was void-flying snow. The void-flying snow was rare because first it was hard to catch but second they were rare even in the void. Yimo had to wait 10 days before just to catch one, sometimes a month. But here, there were so many. He saw void-flying snow immediately. Was this why the immortal ship stopped here? Yimo hesitated for a moment and the void-flying snow disappeared. Yimo realized the void-flying snow seemed faster here. But Yimo wasn't afraid, all that mattered was that there were plenty here, he didn't care about their speed at all. He learned the new way to use Spirit Sense Net from the middle-aged man and now his Spirit Sense Net use was far stronger than when he was an abstruse immortal. Indeed, Yimo waited for less than 5 minutes and another figure came. It slowed down quickly in Yimo's Spirit Sense domain and was brought up to Yimo. This was a high-quality void-flying snow. Yimo took out a jade box and sent it in. Compared to before, it was almost certain he would catch void-flying snow. Most importantly, he used very little time to catch one. He believed with his means, he can definitely catch more. In the next few days, Yimo kept catching void-flying snow with his Spirit Sense Net and stored them away in jade boxes. Sometimes, he would get more than 10 a day, even during the worst time he would get one every 2 days. In just 10 days, Yimo had caught nearly 100 void-flying snow. But later on, there were less and less void-flying snow. Later on, he only caught one every 3 days. Yimo was prepared to leave here. He couldn't even be bothered caring about the guy who left the Spirit Sense mark on him. Just when he wanted to move the Spirit Sense mark, he retreated tens of miles back and went into stealth. Moments later, an obscure shadow landed on that asteroid. "Since you're waiting for me, then come out." The figure cleared up. Yimo didn't expect this wasn't one of the 3 he had guessed, it was Yang Zhoutian. Yimo wasn't scared of Yang Zhoutian just like how Yang Zhoutian wasn't scared of him. He immediately showed himself. Yang Zhoutian wasn't going to join up with someone so since he was here, he didn't need to worry about more people coming. "You're very powerful indeed, you spirit-controlled my space-time boat in such a short while. I thought you wouldn't be able to spirit control it before coming out, it seems I underestimated you," Yang Zhoutian said. Yimo smiled. "You're very strong too but that space-time boat isn't yours anymore. I spirit-controlled my space-time boat and you can still chase to here. It seems your spirit sense mark ability is quite good." Yang Zhoutian snorted in contempt. "Would I be leaving those garbage spirit sense marks? Since you know who I am and you still underestimate me, it seems even if you don't encounter me today, your future would be limited. Yi Mo was shocked. He seemed to have mistaken. He didn't expect Yang Zhoutian to not have marked that spirit sense mark. If it wasn't Yang Zhoutian, then who did it? If Yang Zhoutian didn't make spirit sense mark, how did he chase up to him? Did he not refine the mark on the low-grade god artifact? But he threw his low-grade god artifact in the golden page world. Even if he didn't spirit control it, Yang Zhoutian shouldn't be able to chase up. How did you catch up to me? Yi Mo asked. Yang Zhoutian said pridefully, even if you use it to fly for a few months in the void, I can still find the trace of the god artifact. Yi Mo frowned. Did the god artifact really leave such an obvious trace in the void? If so, how could he avoid Immortal King hunting him? Don't worry, you're strong, but this time I'm not going to give you any chance. It's my business to worry about the spacetime boat being found. Yang Zhoutian seemed to know what Yi Mo thought. Ha ha ha. Before Yi Mo spoke, another laughter sounded. A golden-shirted man appeared. Little Immortal King Lu Mang. Yi Mo didn't expect this dumb pig to have made the spirit sense mark. Lu Mang flew up close, and only then did he notice Yang Zhoutian. Yang Zhoutian was on the asteroid, but his figure was one with the void. It was very hard to notice him. You ran quite far and asked a trash to help you. Do you think I would let you go just because of that? Or I can't find you? Lu Mang looked at Yi Mo in contempt and scanned coldly at Yang Zhoutian. He saw Yi Mo killing Gya with one punch. He believed he could do the same. Plus, he had even greater trump cards. Idiot. Yang Zhoutian looked at Lu Mang and cursed speechlessly. Lu Mang was furious. A mere Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary stage dared to call him an idiot. You're asking to die. Lu Mang attacked without thinking. Two faint black and white things were released by him. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense. It was a golden lantern, and there were two colors in the middle, but the bottom and top were gold. The lantern spun and instantly enveloped a few 100-kilometer radius around Yang Zhoutian. There seemed to be countless voices calling for the people nearby to go into the lantern. If this wasn't the void, the place burnt by the lantern would have zero life force. It was as though all the life force were sucked into the golden lantern. Yi Mo instantly retreated 1,000 kilometers away, but he didn't run. He wasn't scared of both of them, but the golden lantern was very powerful. He wondered what would happen to Yang Zhoutian, an idiot indeed. Yang Zhoutian sneered and released the mist-like spear. Lu Mang was already annoyed for not being able to bring Yi Mo inside. Now that Yang Zhoutian called him an idiot, he was even more furious. The black and white exploded, and it was as though void itself within the radius was going to be annihilated. Break. Yang Zhoutian's face had sliver of seriousness upon seeing this. Crack. Rumble. The black mist spear struck the golden lantern. The two magic artifact entwined together, sweeping up waves of life force and destruction Kai. The black and white space suddenly became volatile. Lu Mang was swept back and spat a mouthful of blood in the air. The black and white space suddenly became volatile. Lu Mang was swept back and spat a mouthful of blood in the air. No wonder you are so cocky. So you have a yin-yang lantern. Yang Zhoutian snorted in contempt, but that black mist line pierced over without stopping. The nearby space wasn't controlled by Lu Mang's yin-yang lantern, but by Yang Zhoutian's black spear. Lu Mang was scared soulless. He never thought that there would be a Great Eternity Immortal in this world to be able to injure him, especially under his yin-yang lantern. Even his lantern was cracked. This was an extreme-grade immortal artifact, the top grade amongst extreme-grade immortal artifact. Hold it. Lu Mang couldn't care about the lantern anymore and blocked it in front of him. Crack. Yi Mo thought to himself, no wonder his octagonal cauldron cracked so easily, and even his world rock couldn't stop this mist spear. This thing was too scary. Yi Mo was even suspecting this guy's spear was top-grade god artifact. However, the mist had become one with Yang Zhoutian, and even he couldn't tell. Yang Zhoutian's power was even scarier. Yi Mo didn't have the confidence to beat him now. Cracking sounds went on, and Lu Mang's yin-yang lantern was struck to pieces, disappearing into the void. Little Immortal King's face was pale. He never expected that with his huge fame, he couldn't even beat an unheard of Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary stage. On top of that, his yin-yang lantern was destroyed. He could only wait for death. Yi Mo saw little immortal king was about to be killed but didn't want to intervene again. In fact, tactically, he should have helped and gain up on Yang Zhoutian. But Yi Mo would rather himself being no match for Yang Zhoutian than save little immortal king, nor would he work with him. The black mist spear neared little immortal king's forehead. There was despair in Lu Mang's eyes. He never expected to die in some random guy's hands before even attacking his main target. He still had many means that he didn't even get time to use. Die in front of the emperor. Yang Zhoutian's eyes went cold and the spear exploded out black rays wanting to tear Lu Mang to pieces. Who dares to kill my disciple? A furious voice sounded and a hollow figure appeared before little immortal king. A boundless force came sweeping over while a hollow hand grabbed at the black mist spear, blocking all of the mist. Master, save me, little immortal king said shakily after seeing this figure. Thud. Yang Zhoutian was pushed back by the force of the figure 100 or so kilometer before spitting blood and stopping. Manga, go first, leave this to master. The hollow figure said coldly. Yes, master. Lu Mang released an extreme-grade flying immortal artifact and instantly disappeared. The dominant figure then stared coldly at Yang Zhoutian and said, "You're a mere great eternity immortal tertiary stage and you dare to kill I, Chen Z's, disciple." Yang Zhoutian wiped the blood from his mouth but said nothing. Clearly he wasn't afraid of this figure. Yi Mo was shocked. He knew this figure was probably Chen Zi, immortal emperor. If he was to kill little immortal king before, he would be marked by Chen Zi, immortal emperor. He didn't care, but he had a few friends at Changrong Heaven. Who knows what Chen Zi, immortal emperor, would do? This figure was probably just a sliver of his spirit sense, but it was this powerful. Chen Zi seemed to care about little immortal king a lot and left a sliver of spirit sense on him. After a while, Yang Zhoutian said coldly, "I didn't kill your disciple, but you ambushed me and injured me. This is over now. If you have to look for trouble with me, Yang will take this." Yi Mo and Yang Zhoutian both knew that as time went on the spirit sense would weaken. "Haha, insolent brat, I hope you can speak such words when you see me," Chen Zi said, and his figure disappeared. Yang Zhoutian ate a pill and said in contempt, "A mere immortal emperor middle stage, back in my prime I can crush you at any time." Yi Mo wanted to laugh. Yang Zhoutian was being abused after he fell from his prime. He was a half-divine, but an immortal emperor middle stage spoke to him in such manner. "Okay, one cocky trash was sent off by me, now we can resolve the matter between us." Yang Zhoutian landed before Yi Mo again. He could easily kill those of the same level, but he didn't call himself emperor before Yi Mo. He knew Yi Mo was extremely powerful too, and even if Yi Mo weaker than him it would be by a limited amount. Yi Mo waved his hand and the world rock appeared above his hand. "If you want to fight, then fight, stop talking." Yi Mo didn't dare to underestimate Yang Zhoutian. Yang Zhoutian had a silver dragon and it still wasn't out. Meanwhile, Shadowless was still in sleep. Yang Zhoutian rubbed the black mist in his hands and said, "This time you won't get away." Yi Mo sneered, "It didn't seem to be me who ran away last time." Yang Zhoutian's face froze for a moment. It really did seem to be him who ran away last time. The black mist disappeared from his hand and at the same time, void seemed to have turned to hell. Endless killing intent rose up everywhere, humming in the void before forming a boundless black bell and struck down. Yi Mo didn't move. He felt he was in a passive defensive state. He didn't know what Yang Zhoutian was doing. He felt the threat of this bell wasn't as simple as smashing down, nor was it to bind him. Soon, the bell suddenly stopped in the void and did nothing. Just when Yi Mo didn't know what Yang Zhoutian was doing, screeching sounds sounded in the void and tens of black arrows tore at Yi Mo. He saw the bell floating in the air and the black mist didn't seem to reduce in size, but tens of black mist arrows shot at him. Yi Mo knew he was tricked. He wasn't enough compared to this cunning Yang Zhoutian. Instead of waiting for Yang Zhoutian to attack, he might as well attack first. Yi Mo released Zishu and hacked out Rainbow. A purple rainbow stretched across the void vibrantly. Thud thud. The arrows were blocked by the rainbow as rainbow color splashed everywhere. Most of the arrows were hacked apart, but a few gathered and didn't dissipate. It then continued piercing at Yi Mo. Yi Mo was shocked and quickly punched without thinking. Only then did he feel that the nearby space seemed to be under the control of that bell. The killing force whirlpool of hundreds of kilometer radius was swept by Yimo, forming waves of annihilation. Yang Zhoutian's eyes looked serious. He had seen this punch. He raised his hand and suddenly more black mist appeared on his wrist. They gathered again, forming a black thin spear. It tore through space and struck towards the killing force whirlpool. Rumble. The two clashed together and violent immortal essence splashed everywhere. Asteroids in thousands of kilometer radius were blown away. Yimo's fist wind paused and a black arrow broke free, shooting at his chest. Yimo knew the terror of this black arrow, but before he could block it, the bell suddenly emitted a sharp sound. Yimo's heart was like struck by a hammer, his immortal essence crippled and his face went pale. Yimo's immortal essence crippled, his fist whirlpool weakened due to this. Yimo's immortal essence crippled, his fist whirlpool weakened due to this. Yang Zhoutian's mist spear broke the weakened fist force whirlpool and pierced at Yimo's forehead. Yimo sweated cold and released Zishu while smashing out World Rock. Rumble. Even though Yang Zhoutian's spear was already blocked by the fist whirlpool, it still made Yimo feel backlash of immortal essence when Zishu clashed with the spear. He felt like his organs were on fire, his immortal essence was chaotic. On top of that, the World Rock smashing on the bell created an even more terrifying sound as the World Rock flew back too. Luckily, the World Rock did something and at least cut off the sound for a moment. The instant the bell was struck, the nearby bound space was freed. Yimo spat a few mouthful of blood and flew back out. But a few black arrows flew even faster and pierced into his chest. Yimo had the complete lower hand in this battle and received quite some injuries. Luckily, he finally broke free using the World Rock. If he wasn't immortal spirit body, those arrows would make his body crippled. Yimo didn't even have time to check his wounds after flying back tens of kilometers and ate a few immortal pills. No wonder you have the right to fight with me, you reached immortal spirit body. Yang Zhoutian saw the mist arrows didn't damage Yimo as much as he thought it would and said in shock. However, he didn't ease up on his attacks. The scattered mist gathered into an even more terrifying mist spear. He stepped out and smashed at Yimo again. Even though Yimo was weaker than him now, he had to use this opportunity to kill him, otherwise he couldn't rest easy. The nearby space was immediately moved by this spear and completely bound Yimo's exit. There seemed to be black spear shadows everywhere in the void. Yimo couldn't dodge at all. Yimo never thought of dodging. If it was an immortal king beating him like this, then never mind, but it was a great eternity immortal beating him like this, and he was very annoyed. He had the lower hand before, not because he was that much weaker than Yang Zhoutian, but due to his battle experience. Yang Zhoutian was so much more experienced in battle than him. Tang Mengareo, smash! Yimo flew back and threw the World Rock at Yang Zhoutian again while calling out lightning sand immediately. However, it was just gathering force and didn't release. He was waiting for the perfect opportunity to teach Yang Zhoutian a lesson. This was the first time Yimo used two god arts at the same time, Tang Mengareo and lightning sand. Yang Zhoutian felt very satisfied to be able to easily suppress Yimo. He wasn't going to give Yimo any breathing opportunity and released the mist spear again. His arrows were also ready. He even prepared mist net outside to catch Yimo if he tried to run. But Yimo never thought of running away. Yang Zhoutian was very prideful, but so was he. Yang Zhoutian was only Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary stage. Yimo didn't feel his Great Eternity Immortal Primary stage was much weaker than Yang Zhoutian. Yimo had never lost to an opponent in the same big cultivation level. How can he run away now? Yang Zhoutian found that when there was still some distance between his mist spear and Yimo, Yimo's huge World Rock landed. Such a powerful god art. Yang Zhoutian was shook. He was a space law controller. How could he not know that Yimo's god art fused space law? If it wasn't space law, the World Rock wouldn't immediately be above his head. What made him speechless was that this space law seemed familiar. Even Yang Zhoutian had to admire Yimo. Yimo only saw him use space law once and could learn a sliver of it. To him, Yimo's learning capabilities were unprecedented. Yang Zhoutian's mist spear also formed a huge black mountain and smashed at the World Rock. At the same time, he moved the bell hanging in the middle. Seeing the bell make humming sounds, how could Yimo not know Yang Zhoutian was going to use the same move again? He lost to this bell before. At this moment, Yimo immediately released How Heaven drum. He couldn't keep hiding the drum anymore. Dong dong. The bell made soul-captivating sounds and Yimo forcefully resisted the crippling of his immortal essence and punched with a pale face. Void. This was the first time Yimo used 3 god arts at once. Waves of weakness came. His body was shaking. He didn't dare to use Wave Kill because it used too much immortal essence and spirit sense. Although it was powerful, but it was hard to kill Yang Jotian in one go. At most, it would make Yang Jotian heavily injured. If Yang Jotian didn't die and he exhausted himself, he would have to await death. The space kill force of 100-kilometer radius was swept up again in this punch. Yang Jotian sneered. Yimo was out of tricks, he used the same fist twice. It didn't cause him any damage the first time and now he dared to use it again. Rumble. The entire void was turned over. Yimo's world rock smashed with Yang Jotian's mist mountain. The void rattled violently, ripples appeared in the void space. It was as though just a bit more power and this void would be torn open to a new realm. Crack, crack. The void secret silver of the world rock splashed away and Yang Jotian's mist mountain was also smashed away. Unlike last time, the world rock was evenly matched with the mist mountain this time. However, a large layer of the void secret silver was gone. Yang Jotian sneered and he gathered his immortal essence and charged at the bell. The bell made even more frequent sounds before forming a long ring. Yimo's face went pale and couldn't resist spitting another mouthful of blood, but his void punch wasn't dispersed this time. Instead, it gathered even more and the killing force whirlpool was complete. Yang Jotian felt something wasn't right. The kill force whirlpool wasn't coming at him but smashed on the drum he released. Dong. A terrifying slaughter sound occurred. It was like an army on 10 million was charging and attacking. The killing force was boundless, endless killing intent and killing will swept towards Yang Jotian. Yang Jotian's sea of consciousness felt weak under this sound and this uncontrollable fear rose up from his heart. Dong. The drum sounded a second time. Void seemed to be crumbling. Heaven and earth seemed to be decimated. Everything shook with this terrifying drum sound. The sound wave spread out like a ripple. Asteroids were pulverized by it. Dong. The drum sounded a third time. It was like the final battle call. Void shook. The drum sound wave spread out non-stop as if tearing this vast reality. Yang Jotian couldn't handle such terrifying drum sound. He spat a few mouthful of blood. Yang Jotian's face was white like paper now. He felt the spear of millions of soldiers pierce into his body. He spat blood while retreating like crazy. Lightning sand, attack. Yimo's face was also terrifyingly pale, but how could he let up on this opportunity? Lightning flashed in the void and a huge rumble sounded. Thick black lightning smashed out suddenly from the void onto Yang Jotian's head. Yang Jotian grunted and dodged. The space ahead of him seemed much more spacious. The lightning sand was about to miss, but Yimo was prepared for Yang Jotian's space law. The lightning sand seemed to know where Yang Jotian was going to retreat and suddenly split into two. A part missed, but the other part still fell onto his head. Yang Jotian was scared soulless and roared terror. A 100-meter-long silver dragon suddenly appeared. There was despair and sadness in its eyes, but it went before the terrifying lightning sand without any hesitation. Rumble, crack. Blood splashed everywhere. The silver dragon's sad eyes dimmed down. Yang Jotian's face was pale like snow, his chest was full of blood, his eyes were bloodshot. He waved his hand and the black mist formed a shield in a rush to block the lightning sand that was filtered by the silver dragon. Yang Jotian's face was pale like snow, his chest was full of blood, his eyes were bloodshot. He waved his hand and the black mist formed a shield in a rush to block the lightning sand that was filtered by the silver dragon. Crack. The remaining lightning sand landed all on Yang Jotian's shield. The shield split apart and Yang Jotian howled in pain and was smashed away a few 100 kilometers. When he got up, his body was completely charred, he was disfigured. Yimo really wanted to give Yang Jotian another lightning sand. He knew that one more and Yang Jotian would be dead for sure. Yang Jotian progressed much faster than him. If he didn't kill Yang Jotian, it would be more dangerous for him the longer he dragged it on. However, although he seemed to be in a much better state than Yang Jotian, He exhausted himself just as much as Yang Zhoutian. He couldn't even use illusion cloud, much less lightning sand. Using the How Heaven drum made Yi Mo's immortal essence in an extremely weakened state. Tang Meng Rao and lightning sand only made things worse. Yi Mo just ate a few pills, trying to recover his power as quickly as possible. Yang Zhoutian ate a few pills and put away the silver dragon that only had one breath left. He looked hatefully at Yi Mo's How Heaven drum. Although he didn't want to say anything, he was very shocked inside. He didn't expect Yi Mo's luck to be this absurd. He even got How Heaven Grand Emperor's drum. None of them spoke, nor did they have the time to speak. They were both trying desperately to recover their immortal essence and spirit sense. Once their spirit sense and immortal essence recovered to a certain state, it would be the beginning of the next wave of battle. 10 seconds later, Yang Zhoutian suddenly growled and a fiery red barrier rose up around him. His mist net and mist mountain gathered together as though going to give Yi Mo a final strike. Yi Mo knew Yang Zhoutian still had a lot more cards, much more than him. Even if Yang Zhoutian was no match for him, it was probably impossible to kill Yang Zhoutian. This was an old monster who had lived countless years. He definitely had the best of the best escape means. Luckily, he had escape means too. Hum. The black mist formed a 10-meter-long spear this time. It hummed before even being released as though keen to devour blood. Yi Mo caressed Zishu. Waves of killing intent rose out of the air. The more he fought, the more experienced he would become, especially if he fought people like Yang Zhoutian. Yang Zhoutian's barrier was definitely to prevent his How Heaven drum. The following battle would only be more arduous for him. However, he didn't have Yang Zhoutian's luck. He didn't have a defense magic artifact to stop the bell. Even though Yi Mo made up his mind to get a top-grade defense magic artifact no matter what, he had to face Yang Zhoutian now. When the two was about to clash, Yi Mo's face suddenly changed. The next moment, he put away everything and instant transmissioned, disappearing completely. Yang Zhoutian dazed, he didn't know why Yi Mo suddenly ran. He didn't even have the thought of chasing Yi Mo when Yi Mo ran. Whether or not he could kill Yi Mo was one thing, but just this speed was something that even he might not be able to catch up to. But he felt Yi Mo wasn't scared of him. Why did Yi Mo run away? He didn't understand. After just hesitating for a second, Yang Zhoutian's face also changed and took back his bell in less than half a second and also disappeared. However, he went the opposite direction to Yi Mo. Yang Zhoutian just left for a few seconds and an old man appeared where they fought. It was clearly that immortal king Uncle Ji. Uncle Ji frowned and looked at the direction Yi Mo ran off to as well as the direction Yang Zhoutian ran off to. He hesitated for a moment and chased after Yang Zhoutian. Feeling an immortal king was getting closer and closer, Yang Zhoutian was about to spit blood out of rage for his misfortune. Yi Mo was a great eternity immortal primary stage, but he was this cunning. This immortal king was quite possibly coming after Yi Mo. He was going to kill this Yi Mo no matter what. The reason Yi Mo could notice Uncle Ji was coming wasn't because his spirit sense was better than Yang Zhoutian, but he was more careful when he was heavily injured. He released his spirit sense domain to the max and watched the nearby area at all time. He wasn't afraid of Yang Zhoutian. Even if he can't beat him, he can always run, but if that Uncle Ji came, he would be over. He was lucky. Uncle Ji's spirit sense was expanded to the maximum, although Yi Mo's spirit sense didn't touch Uncle Ji's spirit sense, but Yi Mo felt it, so he instantly took everything and used instant transmission to get away. From some degree, Uncle Ji was indeed attracted over by Yi Mo. Uncle Ji felt there were people here. He wasn't sure who it was, but he came to check it out. Uncle Ji immediately knew there was a huge battle here and the two parties were quite strong. Yi Mo was very lucky. He was the first to leave and left the disaster to Yang Zhoutian. Even if Yang Zhoutian doesn't die, he would be suffering quite a lot. Yi Mo used the instant transmission another 10 times and kept using mobility technique. The immortal essence he barely gathered up before was depleted again. But now, Yi Mo felt secure. He knew he completely escaped the hunting range of Uncle Ji. Even though he knew he was safe, Yi Mo released the space-time boat and flew around for half a day before finding an asteroid and going into the Golden Page world there. Although Yang Zhoutian could find the trace left behind by God artifact flying in the void, but Yang Zhoutian was a half-divine. Yi Mo didn't believe Uncle Ji would be able to do it. Yimo immediately started recovering his immortal essence in the Golden Page world. A few days later, Yimo had completely recovered. Then, he left the Golden Page world. He took out the Void location disc to confirm his location. He could still sense the direction of the immortal ship. In the next month, Yimo kept changing places to catch Void flying snow. Yimo didn't find another place where the Void flying snow grouped up, but in the almost 2 months' time, he caught tens of Void flying snow. He had nearly 200 Void flying snow. Yimo estimated this was enough to get ranked very ahead, so he released Blue Moon to get back. 3 days later, Yimo stopped. He felt immortal essence wave in the void. There must be a battle. There was also spirit sense barrier formation. Clearly it didn't allow other people's spirit sense to scan over. Just when Yimo was wondering if he should go over to see, 2 dashing lights came. It was 2 Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary Stage. Yimo didn't move. These 2 weren't enough to worry him. Haha, we stopped another fat one. This person is definitely not bad to be able to appear here. The 2 Great Eternity Immortal appeared on the 2 sides of Yimo. Hearing their words, Yimo realized they were robbers. They were probably waiting on some route to return to the immortal ship. Hand over your Void flying snow, I'll let you. The Great Eternity Immortal was suddenly stuck for words. He looked at Yimo worriedly and didn't dare to keep talking. He recognized who Yimo was. It was that Great Eternity Immortal Primary Stage who killed a Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary Stage with 1 punch. He was someone not even Di Wencheng dared to challenge. Give what to you? And you will let me go over? Yimo asked. So it's immortal friend Yi, please go as you please, we're just earning a small fortune here, we don't dare to stop you, the Great Eternity Immortal quickly said. Yimo didn't go over but asked, how come I heard you talk about Void flying snow? Do you have a lot of Void flying snow? The Great Eternity Immortal's face went bitter and sour. He quickly bowed. We just came here, we gave all the Void flying snow to the captain. We really have nothing. Yimo's face sunk and his force expanded over. Killing intent showed just like when he killed Gya on the stage. The Great Eternity Immortal quickly said, we really don't have anything. Our captain is stopping there. Usually we would draw them to our captain and let your captain attack, right? Yimo asked coldly. This, the Great Eternity Immortal couldn't even speak. I only have one. The other Great Eternity Immortal quickly took out 1 Void flying snow and gave it to Yimo. Yimo took it without hesitation and asked, how many can you get each time? 5. The Great Eternity Immortal quickly answered. Then write a debt bill. You 2 owe me 10. Take me to your captain. Yimo said. The 2 hesitated for a moment and Yimo's voice went ice cold. What? You don't want to? The 2 hesitated for a moment and Yimo's voice went ice cold. What? You don't want to? The 2 Great Eternity Immortal glanced at each other and said, we're willing, of course. The 2 would bring Yimo over first. They would have the numbers advantage anyways. Yimo was alone. Yimo extremely detested people blocking the way to rob others, but he didn't want a lot of trouble here. He was just by himself. If they were a team and had quite a lot of people, he would rather have less trouble. The reason he needed an excuse was because his spirit sense blades had broken into the formation and saw that one of the fighters was Chu Kai. He owes him one. He had to help now no matter what. There was also someone Yimo recognized who was watching on the side. It was Di Wencheng. Yimo wasn't certain if the captain was Di Wencheng. If it was, then he would use an excuse to make Di Wencheng challenge him. From Little Immortal King, Yimo knew that Di Wencheng probably had a sliver of Immortal Emperor spirit sense on him. If this was so, he might not be able to kill Di Wencheng even if he fought him. That way, he might as well let Di Wencheng challenge him. Chu Kai was only at the lower hand, he wouldn't be in trouble soon. Yimo had the time to look for trouble. He needed to infuriate Di Wencheng. As a captain and Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage, Di Wencheng wouldn't allow him to use such means to take his Void flying snow. Chu Kai was on the brink of extreme fatigue, but he knew if he wasn't careful he might lose his life here. Ren Lejin was very worried on the side and wanted to charge up many times, but she knew it wouldn't be helping Chu Kai, it would only make him die faster. If she went up, the tens of people on that side could all go up. Just when she was worried, she heard a rumble. A purple sword rays hacked in. The spirit sense barrier formation immediately crippled and 3 people appeared here. Brother Yi. Ren Lejin called out in surprise and joy. She knew that they were probably saved now that Yimo came. Chu Kai also saw Yimo come, but he couldn't break free from his opponent. His slight attention on Yimo allowed a flying sword to break through his defenses. Just when it was about to cut him in half, Yimo dashed over and punched this flying sword. The flying sword was hacked away. He then pulled Chu Kai over. Brother Chu, long time no see. Chu Kai panted and said, "Thank you for saving me again, Brother Yi." The Great Eternity Immortal who was about to kill Chu Kai was furious, but seeing it was Yimo he didn't dare to go up. "What, you want to fight with numbers advantage? 2 against 1? One Great Eternity Immortal immediately yelled. Yimo patted Chu Kai's shoulder, signaling him to rest on the side, and then he turned around saying to that Great Eternity Immortal, "You're right, what can you do to me?" Yimo sneered. There were so many people surrounding the 2 of them and they had the face to say numbers advantage. He could tell there were 3 factions here. Di Wencheng's side only had 10. Yimo was annoyed for not being able to kill Yang Zhoutian, and now he was robbed on the way. He had 0 patience now. "You're asking to die." The Great Eternity Immortal yelled and signaled a few Great Eternity Immortal behind him. Yimo waved his hand, letting Chu Kai and Ren Lejin retreat. He took a step forward. Killing intent exploded all over his body and rose crazily. In just a short time, he formed invisible killing intent ripples around him. "Hurry up and fight, don't waste time." Yimo flung his hand and the world rock hung above his head. With this, the nearby space immediately became depressing. It was as though the world rock was the heaven, and if it fell, people could only wait for death. He didn't even care if they gained up on him. He was waiting for Di Wencheng. If Di Wencheng dared to come up, he would kill him even if he had immortal Emperor Spirit Sense protecting him. Kang Luo retreat. A young Great Eternity Immortal peak stage walked up and yelled. He then came up to Yimo and saluted with his fists. "Immortal friend Yi, my friend was too blunt." "Teng Sheng Heaven by Tan Hope immortal friend, you won't take that seriously." Yimo stared at this by Tan. He was very young and had golden hair. The Kai from him was very strong. He was probably on par with Lu Mang. "You're the captain?" Yimo asked with disappointment. He thought the captain was Di Wencheng. If Di Wencheng wasn't the captain, Yimo didn't have a way to make him come to him. "Yes." Bai Tan smiled and saluted with his fists. "I'm indeed the captain. It's just a duel here, it's definitely fair. Brother Di, Brother Pang, Brother Taisha are all just watching here and being a witness. Of course, as a witness, we won't mistreat them. If immortal friend Yi is willing, you can be a witness here too." Yimo immediately realized. Bai Tan was using duels here to collected void flying snow. The witnesses like Di Wencheng and them had a split of the profit. Bai Tan would be the bad guy and everyone else reap the profit. If they were reported, the rest of them could also vouch for Bai Tan. Chu Kai sneered, "Really? How come my cousin and I didn't want to hand over the void flying snow, so we weren't allowed to go?" Yimo stared coldly at Bai Tan and said, "It seems that when I passed over here I needed to hand over void flying snow to pass. Friend is doing a good business, much more effective than collecting the void flying snow in danger." Bai Tan's face changed. Clearly Yimo was bullshitting to start trouble. "What thing are you? Let me test if your fame is real or fake." A Great Eternity Immortal tertiary stage went past Bai Tan and released a 6-headed spear at Yimo. Bai Tan wanted to stop this Great Eternity Immortal, but then thought if Yimo wasn't really that powerful, then all of them might be able to kill them. Yimo's killing intent had nowhere to go and this Great Eternity Immortal was the perfect target. Yimo punched just like with Geya. Void. With this punch, Bai Tan's face immediately changed. He realized that Yimo's power was greater than his face. But he didn't even have the power to stop it. If he dared to go into the fist wind whirlpool, he would also die. Di Wencheng sneered. If Bai Tan could suppress Yimo with his people, he would go help without hesitation. But seeing this punch, Di Wencheng's face changed. He knew that Yimo's power increased greatly since a few months ago. Di Wencheng originally wanted to challenge Yimo, but seeing this punch he immediately gave up on the thought. The great eternity immortal was caught by the kill force whirlpool. In that instant he felt endless void killing force sweeping at him. He would be sucked in the next second, and if he went in there, he had the feeling he would turn to bloody mist. In his fear, the great eternity immortal burned his immortal essence like crazy, trying desperately to break free. Immortal friend Yi, please have mercy, I'm willing to pay 5 void flying snow. Baitan saw the great eternity immortal was about to be torn to pieces and quickly said. The killing force paused and Yi Mo kicked the chest of the great eternity immortal, sneering, piss off. The great eternity immortal flew back and kept spitting blood in air, but he didn't feel he was insulted. His face was covered in fear. If Baitan spoke a little later, he would be dead already. With that kick, the killing intent and killing force nearby dispersed like nothing happened. Baitan immediately gave Yi Mo a jade box. Immortal friend Yi, thanks for your mercy. Baitan felt it ached his heart. Some of them didn't catch a single one for a few months, but he paid 5 immediately. Yi Mo threw it in his storage ring and then took out a jade slip for Baitan and said, this is a debt bill, see if it's fine, if it is, then clear it. Seeing this jade slip, Baitan's face changed. The most he ever got in a day here was 5 void flying snow, but he had to split out 2 and could only get 3 himself. Yi Mo wanted 10 immediately now. Seeing this jade slip, Baitan's face changed. The most he ever got in a day here was 5 void flying snow, but he had to split out 2 and could only get 3 himself. Yi Mo wanted 10 immediately now. The reason he gave Yi Mo 5 before, other than saving his great eternity immortal henchman, was mainly because he didn't want to fight with Yi Mo. Yi Mo was too terrifying. Even though they had the numbers advantage, a lot of them would probably die. But taking out 10 void flying snow was going to hurt his bones. He didn't dare to reproach Yi Mo and turned around staring at the great eternity immortal. What is this? The 2 great eternity immortal thought Yi Mo wouldn't be able to take on them all, but now they were completely wrong. They didn't dare to say Yi Mo wanted 10 because of what they said. Seeing the 2 great eternity immortal shaking and not talking, Baitan could only saluted with his fists. Immortal friend Yi, we've only collected less than 10 void flying snow here. Seeing Yi Mo nod, Baitan lit up and said, so I really can't take out 10 void flying snow. So this means you don't want to pay me back? Or should I find the 2 who wrote the debt bill? Yi Mo said plainly. Seeing this, Baitan could only clench his teeth and say, I'll pay. If Yi Mo really did that, his authority would be gone and his team would disperse. After taking 10 more void flying snow, Yi Mo didn't even stay for half a second and took Chu Kai and Ren Lejin. Too cocky. 1 great eternity immortal peak stage looked at the direction Yi Mo left and cursed. Di Wencheng sneered, you can challenge him, we'll cheer you on. The great eternity immortal opened his mouth but didn't dare to say anything. Di Wencheng ignored him and saluted with his fists to Baitan and left without even bothering to say anything. With this, Di Wencheng's team also left. The rest of the people saw this and all left too. Soon, there was only Baitan's team left. It was a joke to try rob people on the way here with 10 people. It would be fine for a few rare loners. 4 hours later, Yi Mo stopped and asked Brother Chu, it's just you 2? You didn't team up with Jin Shong Heaven team? Chu Kai smiled bitterly, my Yu Ren immortal residence isn't small, but we're nothing compared to those big sects. They don't want us to go with them and we don't want to beg them. Yi Mo understood this. It wasn't that all of the big sect members were cocky, but they weren't on the same level at all. The reason he could become friends with those people was due to Ji Shu. If it wasn't due to Ji Shu, he wouldn't know Qi Baitsang nor Ju Ruyan. How many void flying snow did you get? Yi Mo asked. Chu Kai thought Yi Mo wanted void flying snow and quickly took out 3, handing them to Yi Mo. We were lucky and have a magic artifact for capturing it, so we got 3. It's not used to us. Brother Yi can have it. Yi Mo waved his hand, I don't want your void flying snow, I want to give all mine to you. What, how can you do that? Chu Kai rejected. Yi Mo said, I want you to help me. Once you get into top 1000 and get invited by the Immortal Emperor, give the Peng Yu immortal fruit to me. For compensation, I will give you 2 Yi King pill. Chu Kai looked at Yi Mo in a daze. Even 1 Peng Yu immortal fruit can't trade for 1 Yi King pill, but Yi Mo was willing to give them 2. Yi Mo coughed, I got a pill cauldron from you. I already owe you. Plus, I'm a level 7 immortal pill grandmaster. With Peng Yu immortal fruit I can concoct Yi King pill. Hearing this, Chu Kai and Ren Eli Jin were completely dazed. A level 7 immortal pill grandmaster had the same status as an immortal monarch to even immortal emperor. Yi Mo was actually one. This was too unbelievable. Seeing the two didn't dare to believe, Yi Mo explained, I'm indeed a level 7 immortal pill grandmaster, but I offended a powerful person. He has background in Qing Wei heaven. I'm afraid I would be ambushed if I go see immortal emperor there. So Yi Mo's excuse was very bad, but Chu Kai wasn't thinking about this. He just wanted to connect well with this level 7 immortal pill grandmaster, so he quickly said, that's fine, I can help this, but it's very hard for us to get into top 1000 with less than 20. That's fine. Yi Mo gave a storage ring to Chu Kai. There's 50 here, take it. Chu Kai was dazed again. He really didn't know how Yi Mo could get this many, but he didn't ask. He shouldn't ask. Yi Mo took out another jade slip to Chu Kai and said, Mi Yun, Saint of Ethereal Immortal Pond, gave me this. If someone asks how you caught so many, this jade slip with your magic artifact and luck is the reason. After this, Yi Mo let the two leave first. He didn't want them to be suspected. Chu Kai knew what Yi Mo meant and returned to the immortal ship with Ren Lejin. Yi Mo wanted to wait for Li Kuan to come and give her some void-flying snow, but an immortal king spirit sense scanned him. Yi Mo didn't dare to wait at all. The spirit sense was very familiar. It was Uncle Ji. This was near the immortal ship. Yi Mo wasn't certain if Uncle Ji would risk attacking him. Yi Mo immediately used mobility technique and sped up to the immortal ship. In just a few seconds, Uncle Ji appeared at where Yi Mo was and chased towards him without hesitation. Luckily, Yi Mo was very close to the immortal ship. With him burning immortal essence like crazy, Yi Mo could see the ship with his spirit sense in 10 seconds. At this moment, Uncle Ji stopped before him. Yi Mo stopped and stared at Uncle Ji calmly. This was near the immortal ship. He believed Uncle Ji didn't dare to attack here. Immortal King Master, may I ask why you stopped me? Yi Mo saluted with his fists. Uncle Ji sneered, why don't you keep running? Do you think I don't dare to kill you just because you ran here? Then, he grabbed at Yi Mo, not giving him any chance. He believed he only needed 2 seconds to kill Yi Mo. That was enough time to clean here. Yi Mo didn't expect this guy really dared to attack him here. He released World Rock without hesitation. Immortal essence poured inside like crazy to stop this grab. But as soon as he released World Rock, he found he couldn't move at all. Yi Mo was very shocked. He knew he was in Uncle Ji's Immortal King domain. In here, there was nothing he could do but await death. The pressure of the domain was about to make Yi Mo spit blood. He released Spirit Sense blades in his Spirit Sense domain like crazy, trying to break open this domain even just by a little. That way, he would be able to use World Rock to stop this grab. Crack. The Immortal King domain just formed and a sliver of crack was created. Uncle Ji was shocked. He didn't expect a Great Eternity Immortal could crack his Immortal King domain a little. Even though he used it casually, it wasn't something a Great Eternity Immortal could break free. Yi Mo couldn't break free indeed, even if the crack was 10 times larger, but this was enough for him to use World Rock. The World Rock stopped that terrifying hand just when it was about to grab Yi Mo Rumble. The World Rock was smashed away. Chapter 1771. Who is lying? Chapter 1771. Who is lying? Yi Mo used this opportunity to ignite his immortal essence and punched out, trying to stop this grab. Rumble. Immortal essence exploded and the nearby void shook. Yi Mo was struck, flying out, splashing blood in the void. Immortal essence and spirit sense disappeared from Yi Mo's body. Even with his immortal spirit body, his chest bones cracked. His immortal spirit body saved his life again. Yi Mo's heart sunk. He just took back the World Rock and was full of weakness. He couldn't release it again. Now, an ordinary Foundation establishment state could kill him, much less an Immortal King peak stage. Uncle Ji's heart sunk. He thought that his grab would kill Yi Mo for certain. Even a Great Eternity Immortal peak stage wouldn't be able to escape under his Immortal King domain. Yet a Great Eternity Immortal primary stage could open a sliver in his Immortal King domain and stop this grab, and then burn his immortal essence to break out. This was beyond insane. His heart sunk not because Yi Mo could escape. He knew Yi Mo wouldn't be able to live after that, but he didn't expect killing a great eternity immortal primary stage would cause this much commotion. If this startled the immortal Emperor Master, he would have no place to bury himself. Thinking about this, Uncle G sweated cold and charged forward wanting to pulverize Yi Mo. Seeing this, Yi Mo sighed. He had used his spirit sense blades to stir up the immortal ship restriction. Why was there still no news now? Just when he was thinking if he should hide into the golden page world when he heard a sneer. Yi Mo rejoiced and didn't move. It seemed his action was useful. Yi Mo could tell that Mi Quan Immortal Emperor made this sneer. He didn't believe Mi Quan Immortal Emperor would let an immortal king kill before him. Uncle G heard this too because this sneer was targeted at him. His immortal essence backlashed and blood spilled out of the corner of his mouth immediately. There was terror in his eyes. He didn't dare to keep attacking Yi Mo and said, "Uncle G, greet Mi Quan Immortal Emperor." A great hand grabbed Uncle G and brought up Yi Mo, taking them back to the immortal ship deck in just a few steps. The deck was filled with immortals who had returned. Yi Mo's heart felt a little easy. As long as he was in public view, he wouldn't be threatened with death. When Yi Mo was thrown onto the deck, Li Kuan screamed and immediately charged over, holding Yi Mo while putting pills into Yi Mo's mouth. "Brother, what happened to you?" Li Kuan asked in fury and worry. Everyone saw Yi Mo was beaten this heavily and all tuned in wanting to know who did this. Some people saw Uncle G, who was thrown onto the deck by Mi Quan Immortal Emperor, and immediately released what happened. Many people still didn't believe that Yi Mo was beaten by an immortal king. If immortal king attacked, how could Yi Mo live till now? Immortal King didn't kill a great eternity immortal primary stage in one strike. This was too astonishing. Ji Shu and Qi Baitsang quickly came over. Li Kuan realized that it was Uncle G who beat Yi Mo. He got up and stared at Uncle G, saying furiously, "You're an immortal king and you attack a great eternity immortal. Do you not know the immortal ship laws of Mi Quan Immortal Emperor Master?" A few immortal monarch and Mi Quan Immortal Emperor were here, but Li Kuan didn't dare to curse Uncle G. Mi Quan Immortal Emperor was already annoyed that Uncle G dared to attack Yi Mo and near the ship. This was not taking his words seriously. Li Kuan's reproach meant that his words had no authority at all, and his made him more uncomfortable. Zhu Ruyan quickly pulled Li Kuan over. "Sister Shi Yu, don't worry, Mi Quan Immortal Emperor Master will get justice for Brother Yi." Zhu Ruyan's words were soft, but all the nearby Great Eternity Immortal heard. How could Mi Quan Immortal Emperor not know what Zhu Ruyan wanted? He ignored the two girls and just stared coldly at Uncle G. "You're an immortal king, yet you ignore the immortal ship rules to kill a great eternity immortal. Do you think my words are meaningless, or are you divine Emperor Master?" Hearing this, Hua Rushua quickly went up and bowed. "Immortal Emperor Master, there must be a reason for Uncle G to attack Yi Mo. Please have mercy, Immortal Emperor Master. Even if Yi Mo was rude first, I will order Uncle G to apologize." Yi Mo heard this and sneered, but he didn't argue. He knew this woman was better than an Oscar winner in acting. He didn't care about Hua Rushua, he cared that Yang Zhoutian was fine. He saw Yang Zhoutian in the middle of the crowd. His face was very bad, seemingly due to loss of blood. When Yi Mo stared at him, Yang Zhoutian stared back with great killing intent. Yi Mo sighed. Yang Zhoutian was quite amazing. He was only this far from the ship but didn't get away. If it wasn't for Mi Quan Immortal Emperor, he would almost be disintegrated. Yang Zhoutian was chased by Uncle G but came back alive. This guy was a running away specialist. Seeing the degree of Yi Mo's injuries, his sea of consciousness was probably injured too. Yang Zhoutian felt a little satisfied seeing this. But thinking about how Yi Mo almost made him die to Uncle G, his teeth itched with hatred. He was in no better state than Yi Mo before. If he didn't use blood sacrifice, he wouldn't be able to stand here. Mi Quan Immortal Emperor really wanted to kill Uncle G straight up, but he knew Hua Rushua's background. He wasn't afraid of Demon Joy sect, but it wasn't smart to offend a sect like that. How could Uncle J not know what Hua Rushua meant? He bowed. Mi Quan Immortal Emperor Master, I saw Yi Mo on the way back alone, so I asked out of goodwill, but instead he insulted me and used all sorts of foul language. As an immortal king, I was cursed by a great eternity immortal like this. I really couldn't take it, so I wanted to teach him a lesson. Mi Quan's face eased. He didn't believe Yi Mo would be stupid enough to curse an immortal king, but this was an appropriate excuse. Uncle Ji wasn't completely disregarding the rules here, so he had a little face. After all, offending someone with a higher cultivation level was taboo in the immortal realm. They could be killed at any time. My brother would definitely not curse you. You have no evidence, Li Kuan said in desperation. Yi Mo waved his hand signaling her to stop talking and then took out a few pills to eat before bowing to Mi Quan Immortal Emperor. Mi Quan Immortal Emperor Master. WN Bei was definitely very respectful to Uncle Ji Immortal King. Cursing him is completely false. Uncle Ji interrupted. Of course you wouldn't admit it now. You already forgot how you cursed me. Oh, what did I say? Yi Mo asked. Seeing Uncle Ji's face paused, Hua Rushua immediately said, Yi Mo, Uncle Ji is much older than you. You cursed him and he feels uncomfortable. Is he to repeat it? Yi Mo said calmly, since he can't say it, it means that I didn't curse him. If he says what I said and I don't have evidence, then he's right and I can stop chasing this up. TMPH, you don't have the right to chase it up. Now, we're going to chase up with you. Uncle Ji, say what Yi Mo cursed you with. Hua Rushua immediately said. Mi Quan Immortal Emperor's face was bleak but said nothing. Clearly he wanted both sides to take out evidence. Uncle Ji immediately said, furious, he's a great eternity immortal, but he calls me garbage animal. He says I'm raised by a bitch. Hearing this, I really couldn't handle it, so I attacked immediately. All the immortals fell silent now. What Yi Mo said was enough for death sentence. Mi Quan Immortal Emperor didn't believe this, but in the logic of the immortal realm, if both parties didn't have evidence, then whomever was stronger had the reason to his side. He looked at Yi Mo coldly. Yi Mo, you're a mere great eternity immortal and you dare to curse an immortal king like this. You deserve to die. Yi Mo bowed. Immortal Emperor Master, I didn't curse him at all and I was very polite to him. However, he said keep running. Do you think I won't dare to kill you just because you ran here? Then he immediately attacked to kill me. Immortal Emperor Master, I never said this. Yi Mo didn't say anything respectful to me. Uncle Ji argued. Yi Mo bowed again. Immortal Emperor Master, WN Bei has evidence. Oh, Mi Quan Immortal Emperor looked at Yi Mo in confusion. If you have evidence, why don't you take it out earlier? Yes, WN Bei was wronged. In my worry I forgot. Then Yi Mo took out a crystal ball and released it into the air. At the same time, he sneered to himself, if I took it out earlier, I wouldn't be able to hear this old thing curse himself. Chapter 1772, Kill Immortal King. Chapter 1772, Kill Immortal King. Seeing Yi Mo take out the crystal ball, Uncle Ji's face went pale. He finally realized why Yi Mo was so respectful to him when he saw him and called him master. This little bastard had a scheme already. The huge crystal ball released a clear scene. In the scene, Yi Mo respectfully saluted with his fists. Immortal King Master, may I ask why you stopped me? But Uncle Ji sneered inside, why don't you keep running? Do you think I don't dare to kill you here? Then he attacked and the crystal ball went blurry. Just an instant, those who wanted to see Yi Mo's pitiful fate all looked at Uncle Ji with sympathy. An immortal king was played by a great eternity immortal primary stage with his hands and cursed himself so cheerfully. Yi Mo took out the crystal ball later and asked what he said, clearly wanting the immortal king to curse himself first. Yi Mo bowed to Mi Quan Immortal Emperor and said, thank you Immortal Emperor Master for saving my life. Yi Mo will repay you once my cultivation is successful. Although Mi Quan Immortal Emperor didn't come just to save him, Yi Mo was still very grateful. Mi Quan Immortal Emperor nodded. How could Yi Mo's little tricks get past him? However, since Yi Mo had evidence, it was easy for him now. He was an immortal emperor and didn't expect Yi Mo to pay him back, but Yi Mo's will was good. Uncle Ji, do you have anything to say? Mi Quan Immortal Emperor looked coldly at Uncle Ji. Uncle Ji's face was pale. The evidence was so clear, what could he say? If Mi Quan Immortal Emperor didn't intervene in this personally, he could say the crystal ball was fake. But everyone knew this wasn't fake. There were too many ways to tell, and plus, Yi Mo didn't have the time to make a fake. Yi Mo saluted with his fists to Uncle Ji. Uncle Ji Immortal King, if you didn't say it yourself, I wouldn't even know you were raised by a bitch. You, Uncle G was furious and spat a mouthful of blood. Hua Rushue's face was cold. She knew that it was pointless to beg Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor, for mercy. She could only walk up to Yi Mo pitifully. Brother Yi, please let Uncle G go this time. Rushue will definitely pay you back. The killing intent in Yi Mo's heart didn't seep out at all. He would never show mercy to those who wanted to kill him. But Yi Mo wasn't dumb. He knew the reason Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor, didn't judge Uncle G, yet not because there wasn't evidence, but he was concerned with Demon Joy sect a little. Yi Mo nodded to Hua Rushue and said to Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor, Uncle Ji, Immortal King bound me with Immortal King domain and grabbed at me. As a great eternity immortal facing an immortal king, I'm willing to repay hatred with goodwill. Hua Rushue's face lit up. In her heart she already considered Yi Mo dead, but she couldn't show it now. Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor, nodded and seemed to realize Yi Mo's predicament. He thought Yi Mo just wanted Uncle Ji to compensate some immortal crystals, but then Yi Mo said, so, I want to also punch him while he's bound. I know my punch wouldn't even be able to move his clothes, but this is fair. Hearing this, the atmosphere paused again. Many had seen the power of Yi Mo's punch. With that, even if Uncle G wasn't dead, he would be heavily injured. Many people didn't understand, since Yi Mo gave up on revenge, punching this would only draw more enmity. Hua Rushue's face changed. She had seen Yi Mo's punch. Could Uncle G block this? Just when Hua Rushue wanted to argue, Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor, nodded. That's fine. He can't move now, punch him. After you're done, I will take him away and deal with him according to the rules. Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor, didn't know the power of Yi Mo's punch. He thought Yi Mo was just finding a way down. With this said, Hua Rushue could only shut up. Taking Uncle G away to deal with was just letting him go. Even Uncle G signaled Hua Rushue to stop talking. Yi Mo was strong, but he wouldn't be able to kill him with one punch, especially how Yi Mo was heavily injured. The other immortal monarchs and immortal kings tensed up. They knew that his last sentence was spoken to them. He probably wouldn't kill Uncle G, but would be teaching him a lesson and even make Demon Joy sect pay greatly. Yi Mo had recovered more than half of his immortal essence and spirit sense. If an immortal king was controlled and he couldn't kill him, then he would be too weak. Do it. Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor, said. Yi Mo took a breath and walked up to Uncle G. He didn't prepare at all and just punched. Seeing this, everyone knew Yi Mo gave up on killing Uncle G. Otherwise, he could use a much more powerful punch than this. But Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor's eyes narrowed. He could feel that all the invisible lethal force in the nearby space being sucked away by this punch. He knew this punch was probably going to kill Uncle G. Despite this, he still didn't really believe that a great eternity immortal could kill an immortal king with one punch. However, he did approve of Yi Mo to be able to punch without spilling out any lethal force. No wonder he could escape from Immortal King as GIT. Seeing this punch, Uncle G breathed easy. It seemed Yi Mo knew Demon Joy sect wasn't easy to mess with. But when this punch neared his heart, there was a sudden extreme terror rising up in his chest. As an immortal king, he realized that Yi Mo secretly contained all the lethal force in the punch. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to tell at all. It seemed as though Yi Mo didn't use full power, but this punch was trying to kill him. Uncle G immediately wanted to resist, but he was already subjugated by Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor. There was despair in his eyes. Seeing this despair, Yi Mo sneered. His void punch could be dramatic or silent like this. The terrifying lethal force swept over in Uncle G's meridians, forming small lethal force whirlpools. He wouldn't do this to other people, but for this Uncle G, he must kill this guy. The crazy lethal force rolled around in his body. Uncle G could only feel the whirlpools expand in his body, tearing all the meridians. Seeing blood flow out of Uncle G's eyes and ears, Hua Rushue immediately knew things weren't good. Thud, before Hua Rushue could stop it, Yi Mo's punch landed on Uncle G's chest. Uncle G's despaired eyes dimmed down. Moments later, his body turned into a bloody mist. Not even his essence spirit remained. Other than a few immortal monarch and Mi Quan, Immortal Emperor, who saw the premonition, everyone else was dazed. Yi Mo really was this decisive and killed an immortal king with one punch. No wonder he said not even Uncle G's clothes would flip. There would be no clothes after this. That skinny immortal monarch primary stage frowned. He dealt with the business between Yi Mo and Uncle Ji. He even went against the rules. Not it seemed this little great eternity immortal was very vengeful. Very well, the demon joy sect remembers you. Hua Rushua stared at Yi Mo coldly. Di Wuncheng's heart shivered upon seeing this. He didn't believe Yi Mo really dared to kill Immortal King. If he fell into Yi Mo's hands, he wouldn't need to use his sect to threaten Yi Mo. This guy didn't care at all. Only Yang Zhoutian sneered. Using an emperor sect to threaten Yi Mo was a joke. He knew very clearly what sort of a person Yi Mo was. Yi Mo didn't even take him, a half-divine. Seriously, emperor sect was nothing. Mi Quan Immortal Emperor interrupted this eerie scene and said 3 months' time is about to be up. Please all Great Eternity Immortal go up and tally the void flying snow they got and wait on the side for results. Exchange of void flying snow is not allowed on the ship, offenders will be disqualified. Yi Mo just wanted to give some void flying snow to Li Kuan and heard this, so he immediately stopped. Chapter 1773, Feng Kong Grand Emperor. Chapter 1773, Feng Kong Grand Emperor Mi Quan finished and the immortals and the deck started lining up to hand up their void flying snow. Soon, Yi Mo found there were only tens of thousands of immortals handing them up. This meant only 1 in 10 was handing it up. Yi Mo guessed that to get top 1,000, most of the void flying snow were gathered on one person. The big screen on the deck started to show a leaderboard. Yi Mo saw that those who were ahead had tens, the most had 80. Some solo cultivators only had 1 or 2. Yi Mo handed out 3 void flying snow and stood on the side. 3 was quite a lot for one person. A day later, the tally was finished. 3 months' time was up. As the ship restriction closed, those immortals who didn't get back had no chance to come back on even if they were alive. On the ranking, Li Kuan was ranked 636 th, Ji Shu and them had no ranking. Li Kuan got 37 void flying snow. Yi Mo knew that Ji Shu and them gave all their void flying snow to Li Kuan. Chu Kai got 53 and was ranked 278 th. Yi Mo looked at Yang Zhoutian. He got 34 and was ranked 907 th. There were quite a lot of people who got the same number of void flying snow. Their rank was divided based on the quality of the void flying snow. Most people didn't care about their rank, they only cared if they could get into top 1,000. Sister Shi Yu, did your team give all the void flying snow to you? Yi Mo asked. Qi Beizang answered no, only me, Ji Shu, Yin Hui and Zhu Ruyan. The rest of the people aren't here, but we didn't get much, Shi Yu got most of them. Li Kuan smiled. Luckily we had Mi Yun's Saint's Jadal Sip and I was lucky so I got 29. Yi Mo understood what Li Kuan meant. She got 29 not because of Mi Yun's Jade Slip but because of Spirit Will 9 transformations. After the ranking was done, Mi Quan Immortal Emperor said loudly, the top 1,000 can come up and get their Jade card now. The rest of you will be able to get a reward based on the void flying snow you have contributed. Yi Mo didn't choose any pills, he chose tens of tasty level 5 immortal spirit fruit. Everyone left after the ranking was done, but Yi Mo had some news saying that the top 1,000 might not get Pengyu immortal fruit straight up, they would be getting a spot to go find Pengyu immortal fruit. Yi Mo didn't care, no matter what, as long as he got a Pengyu immortal fruit, it would be fine. He believed even if it was just one spot, Chu Kai would come to him. Even if he didn't get the fruit, he didn't want to go see a few Immortal Emperor. Feng Kong Immortal Emperor was Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Yi Mo wasn't certain if this was the Emperor Feng who threw him into Luoyu cultivation realm, but if it was, then that Immortal Emperor tertiary stage might be able to realize something. The main reason was that Yi Mo was scared they could see his sea of consciousness. If the chaos world was exposed, he would be over. A few months later, Yi Mo was still in cultivation. He didn't want to go out and cause trouble, at the same time he needed to cure his injuries. On top of that, he wanted to keep refining How Heaven Drum. Yi Mo didn't expect it to have such power, he only controlled a few levels of restriction and could release such huge power. If he completely controlled the drum, how terrifying would its power be? But Yi Mo knew that only Yang Zhoutian knew about it and he didn't dare to spill it. If someone else knew, no good would come out of it. Half a year later, Yimo came out of solitary cultivation. Based on time, Yimo calculated that they were almost at Qing Wei Heaven. Qing Wei Heaven was extremely far, but Yimo knew this immortal ship was very substantial. It could be ranked into top 5 in all of the immortal ships in the Grand Heaven domain. It was extremely fast and sturdy. This ship was even faster than his replica spacetime boat. When he came out of solitary cultivation, he found that all the Great Eternity Immortal who saw him greeted him politely. He didn't want this, but Yimo knew that his name spread out. Ji Shu and them immediately invited Yimo over. Due to Yimo, challenges had nothing to do with them these half-year. Another month later, the immortal ship stopped at a square near Qing Wei Heaven Hong Yu Immortal City. Yimo followed a few 100,000 immortals and got off the ship to where they were arranged to stay. Some big sect people already came here and they met up with their sect members immediately. Li Kuan's sect also had people to come greet them. Those who got into top 1,000 were greeted nicely. Yimo didn't have the Jade card and was an solo cultivator. They had the worst treatment and could only follow everyone to the most ordinary cultivation home and wait for the call of immortal emperors. A few killing intent scanned past Yimo. Yimo breathed easy instead. It was an immortal monarch from Demon Joy sect here meeting with Hua Rushue. It wasn't an immortal emperor, plus even immortal emperor didn't dare to easily kill people. 3 days passed quickly. Yimo didn't leave his residence. He had decided to go as soon as he got the Peng Yu immortal fruit. Qing Wei Heaven definitely wasn't an easy place to stay. It was too dangerous here. Li Kuan had the Emperor sect to take care of her, so he didn't need to worry. On the 4th day, it was the day that the few immortal emperor saw the 1,000 Great Eternity Immortals. Including the 100 chosen from Qing Wei Heaven, 1,100 Great Eternity Immortals will be seen by the top immortal emperors. Yimo and those who weren't called stayed at the square seeing the formation screen. Ji Shu and Qi Baitsang were young city lords, but their status here weren't much higher than Yimo and could only watch the formation screen just like Yimo. Ren Lejin had no one she knew, so she could only follow Yimo. The formation screen was very clear. In it a huge palace was decorated with the best immortal materials. 1,100 Great Eternity Immortals were led into the palace by female immortals on the 2 sides. 5 minutes later, a few emperor-crested immortal emperors walked onto the stage. Even through the formation, the Great Eternity Immortals at the square felt the power and authority of immortal emperor. "Brother Yi, are you okay?" Zhu Ruyan asked. She was by Yimo's side and Yimo was shaking, his face was pale. "I'm fine, it's some cultivation problem and my body is reacting to the Emperor Kai," Yimo quickly said and released his clenched fist. He rejoiced his decision. If he was seen by immortal emperors, his attitude would definitely be noticed by all immortal emperors. Yimo breathed easy. The reason he had such reaction was because he recognized one of them to be Emperor Feng. That person is without a doubt Feng Kong Grand Emperor. He saw it very clearly at Samsara Dao in the 7 Refined Tower. It was the image of his past life. At this moment, he had a smile and seemed very amicable, but Yimo would never forget the scene where that crying woman hugged this immortal emperor's leg and begged for mercy. However, this Feng Kong Grand Emperor kicked him and that woman off the stairs without hesitation and then ordered him to be thrown into a Spirit Kai-deprived cultivation realm. Yimo's fists were shaky. He suddenly thought of that woman. Who was that woman to him? Where was she? But Yimo didn't even dare to ask. Seeing this smiling Feng Kong Grand Emperor, Yimo remembered how Heaven Grand Emperor's words. Feng Kong is the most sinister and bleak character. On the surface he seems the weakest, but in fact, he's the strongest of the 4 Grand Emperors. At the top of the palace, tens of extremely beautiful female immortal danced, bringing out waves of immortal clouds. The dance was extremely beautiful and captivating, but Yimo didn't even look at them. He was thinking about why Feng Kong Grand Emperor wanted to kill him. Chapter 1774, Little Heaven Domain. Chapter 1774, Little Heaven Domain. After the dance, a group of female immortal carried immortal wine to these 1,100 Great Eternity Immortals. The Great Eternity Immortals on the square looked in admiration. Without a doubt the wine was made from the best immortal liquid that was beneficial for both cultivation and Tao. After the immortals drank, a long-bearded handsome man walked out. He signaled the Great Eternity Immortals to sit before saying every Pengyu immortal fruit harvest season gives people anticipation. It's also the time that our immortal realm prodigies shine. To be able to come here today, you're the very elite great immortals of the 33 heaven domains. As the Qing Wei Heaven Lord, I welcome you all greatly. Yimo looked and recognized it to be Wei Feng Immortal Emperor. It said he's a Grand Emperor. Yimo immediately thought of Wu Shuang Immortal Emperor seeing this guy. Wu Shuang Immortal Emperor was probably ambushed in this Hongyu Immortal City. Just what woman made Wu Shuang Immortal Emperor unable to forget? Wei Feng Immortal Emperor's voice continued to sound. Not only Feng Kong Grand Emperor and Dragon River Grand Emperor came this time, but also Yuan Dong Heaven Zheng Ren Immortal Emperor, Ting Sheng Heaven Kuei Qian Immortal Emperor, Fendu Heaven Yuan Yun Immortal Emperor. On top of that, there are valuable guests from the emperor sects and monarch sects of the big heaven domains. Although there's some problem with this Pengyu Immortal Fruit Social, but I believe after Feng Kong Grand Emperor explains things, everyone would have even greater hopes. Feng Kong Grand Emperor smiled and nodded. Last time at Yuan Dong Heaven Emperor Four Mountain, we lost some elite great immortals. It pains my heart greatly. We're all old. The future of the immortal realm and the 33 heavens would need you all. Everyone here is Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary Stage and the elite of the big heaven domains. I believe the most excellent immortal emperor of the 33 heavens will be coming amongst you. Yimo didn't like Feng Kong Grand Emperor, but he had to admit he was right. This place indeed gathered the best Great Eternity Immortal in the grand heaven domains. Every immortal emperor and immortal monarch here came from Great Eternity Immortal. We know the hardship of reaching Immortal King from Great Eternity Immortal. Feng Kong Grand Emperor spoke slowly and seemed very amicable, but perhaps due to his experience, Yimo felt Feng Kong Grand Emperor seemed very fake. To be able to sit here, you have all proved your ability. But this isn't enough for you to get a Pengyu immortal fruit without any effort. Ever since the immortal realm split apart, Pengyu immortal fruit have become rarer and rarer. Hearing this, Yimo frowned. He felt he was tricked. Feng Kong Grand Emperor said nice things, but they were meaningless. Not only Yimo but the other Great Eternity Immortals in the palace noticed something wasn't right. Feng Kong Grand Emperor didn't seem to notice this and continued this time. The Qing Wei Heaven Pengyu Immortal Fruit Garden is mature again, but the fruits can't be distributed to your hands. The Pengyu Immortal Garden had withered a few thousand years ago. In order to not crush everyone's hopes, we didn't say this. Discussion rose everywhere in the square. Pengyu Immortal Fruit was an extremely rare immortal fruit. It was rarer than level 8 and level 9 Immortal Spirit Herb. Many Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage were stuck there due to not having Yi King Pill. Some people even began to doubt Feng Kong Grand Emperor, saying that the Immortal Spirit Herb Garden suddenly withered. The Pengyu immortal fruits would mature once every 100,000 years, and during this time, there would be a Pengyu immortal fruit social held in Qing Wei Heaven. The previous Heaven Lord of Qing He Heaven Hong Yu Immortal Emperor never stopped it once. Many immortal kings of other heaven domains reached their state due to the Pengyu fruit social. At the prime, a third of the Great Eternity Immortals coming would be able to get Pengyu immortal fruit. Later on, there were less and less people getting Pengyu immortal fruit. This time, there was only 1100. But even so, no one dared to say anything. Now, Feng Kong Grand Emperor said they withered a few thousand years ago, and this broke everyone's hopes and dreams. People immediately became suspicious. I remembered when Hongyu Immortal Emperor had the Pengyu social, the glory of that was unforgettable. Hongyu Immortal Emperor called all the Great Eternity Immortal in Qing Wei Heaven over. Yeah, now the Heaven Lord is Wei Feng Immortal Emperor. Why is there less and less people called to the social? Now they're saying there's none left. Aren't they playing with us? Most of these people guessing came from other heaven domains. Yimo heard of Hongyu Immortal Emperor, how Heaven Grand Emperor told him Qing Wei Heaven Lord was Hongyu Immortal Emperor, but for some reason, it changed to Wei Feng Immortal Emperor. Feng Kong Grand Emperor said pitifully, we are also regretful that the Pengyu Immortal Garden is withering. This would mean less and less immortal kings. This is a huge blow to the 33 heavens. If one day there was not a single Pengyu immortal fruit left, wouldn't that mean the end of the immortal realm heritage? Feng Kong Grand Emperor's tone seemed to have influenced everyone and they stopped talking. In fact, we Immortal Emperor are more worried. Luckily, the heavens doesn't end our hope. After searching for a few thousand years, we finally found a place no one has been in before. There's not only Pengyu fruit but also level 7 and above Immortal Spirit Herb as well as Chaos Immortal Spirit items. These words immediately lit up everyone's excitement. Even some big sects were in shock. If Feng Kong Grand Emperor didn't say this, they wouldn't know these few Immortal Emperor found a place with Chaos Spirit item. In that instant, Feng Kong Grand Emperor's public image became great. A Grand Emperor found such a valuable place but still took it out to share with everyone. Such manner, such magnanimity was worth everyone worshipping. The Immortals, whether in the palace or in the square, became restless. Some sect members wanted to bring this news back immediately, but it was impossible to send news across heaven domains. Yimo didn't know if Feng Kong Grand Emperor was telling the truth, but he believed Feng Kong Grand Emperor was definitely not that generous. Hundreds of millions of years ago, the Divine Emperor battle split apart the immortal realm into 33 heavens. In fact, there's actually some smaller heaven domain forgotten in the void. Those heaven domains without great fortune became void planets and asteroids. Some dissipated after the ravage of time, but some had small fortune and was lost in the corners of the void, becoming small heaven domain. Feng Kong Grand Emperor described an ancient history, and even Yimo only heard these things for the first time. Feng Kong Grand Emperor continued, most of these small heaven domains have dissipated, but a small part of them are protected by natural formations in the void and even has atmosphere forming a small astral region. These astral regions have never been damaged nor been stepped foot on, so there's immortal spirit herb everywhere. Even some chaos items hide in here. Just when everyone was expecting Feng Kong Grand Emperor to say where it was and let everyone go in harvest, Feng Kong Grand Emperor said dejectedly, however, not everyone can go in. Chapter 1775, Jade Card. Chapter 1775, Jade Card. It was indeed so. If it wasn't, Yimo would feel it wasn't right. Many people thought the same as Yimo, but more were disappointed. Seeing everyone calm down, Feng Kong Grand Emperor continued. The small heaven domain existed for countless years and some void chaos items hid in there too. If status immortal goes in, their Kai would startle these chaos items and make them flee. So after discussion, we decided to not touch small heaven domain and use this Pengyu immortal fruit social to send the top 1100 great eternity immortals into the small heaven domain. The square went into discussion again. If it was really so, then wouldn't the 1100 people be digging a gold mine? They wondered if these people would get to keep what they found. Yimo was confused. Was this the reason why they used void flying snow to decide the rankings? Yimo definitely didn't believe that status immortals going in would start chaos spirit items. He knew he wasn't the only one who didn't believe this, but he couldn't find a reason not to believe it. The things inside the small heaven domain belongs to everyone. Although we choose 1100 representatives to go in, it's for the entire heaven domain to benefit. Those who go in must only agree to keep 10% of what they get and let the rest be distributed. If they're not willing, they can give their spot to someone else. Chaos spirit items must be handed over and planted in the Qing Wei Heaven Peng Yu Immortal Fruit Garden. No one was unhappy with Feng Kong Grand Emperor's words. How could the immortal spirit herb inside a heaven domain that hadn't been opened for 100 million years be simple? 10% was very much already. As for chaos spirit item, who could even find it? This batch can only stay for 3 days. After 3 days you must come out. Feng Kong Grand Emperor's words bewildered everyone again. How big would a small heaven domain be? How many things would they be able to get with just 3 days? Feng Kong Grand Emperor said this is because there's spirit crippling demonic Kai inside. If you stay in there for too long, your spirit root would cripple. The higher your power, the faster your spirit root would cripple. Thus, those above Immortal King isn't suited to go in. Yimo realized, no wonder Feng Kong Grand Emperor and them didn't want to go in. This was the main reason. Zhen Bingyu's spirit root crippled when her nirvana failed too. He helped Zhen Bingyu find void flying snow to concoct flying snow pill. Yimo realized now why the great eternity immortal had to go catch void flying snow. Feng Kong Grand Emperor continued. The main reason of getting everyone to capture void flying snow is to concoct flying snow pill. It can not only stop spirit root crippling but also purify the spirit root of those who enter the small heaven domain. However, we can only give 3 flying snow pill to everyone who goes in. Each pill will last a day. 3 pills can only last 3 days, so after 3 days, everyone who goes in must crush the jade card to teleport out. Now, it wasn't just Yimo sneering but also some knowledgeable immortal monarchs and immortal kings. Even if they got something precious in the small heaven domain, 3 days wasn't enough for them to use it for cultivation. This way they could only hand the best things to the immortal emperor to distribute. Yimo sneered also because he had a few bottles of flying snow pill and 100 or so void flying snow. He could forge them at any time. Yimo guessed these immortal emperors wouldn't make these rules for ordinary level 7 and level 8 immortal spirit herbs. There was definitely something they wanted inside, but they couldn't go in to search. Other than these 1100 people, the rest of the Great Eternity Immortal from Qing Wei Heaven have a chance to go in too. I will arrange a specific time. Flying snow pill concoction needs a few days. 10 days later, everyone gather at Hongyu Square. Feng Kong Grand Emperor waved his hand and a few female immortals sent jade cards to the 1100 people in here. Seeing this, the few immortal emperors got up to leave, but Yimo was confused. They gave out the jade cards to go in this early. Were they not scared of something happening? Everyone would want these jade cards, and if people fought over it, many sects would be willing to take risks. When the immortal emperors left, they said nothing about this. Clearly they meant people could fight over it. Ren Lejin was worried. Clearly she knew the dangers of this. If they were from an emperor sect or big sect it would be fine, but they were alone like Yimo. They were like a 3-year-old holding a gold bar walking in robber's lair. Li Kuan was taken away by Long Yu emperor sect as soon as she came out. Chu Kai came nervously to Yimo. He really wanted to give the jade card to Yimo but was afraid of brining trouble to him. Even if he gave it to Yimo, other people wouldn't know and perhaps he would be harmed too. Brother Yi, what do we do? Chu Kai asked. Yimo knew that not only Chu Kai couldn't take the card but he couldn't too. Show me the jade card, Yimo said. When Chu Kai showed the card, countless eyes stared at it. If this wasn't the square, people would have come over to rob it already. Yimo scanned with spirit sense and found it was indeed a teleportation formation. Yimo was an experienced level 5 immortal formation great master. With his spirit will 9 transformations, his spirit sense could cut into the card and look at it carefully. In a short while, Yimo remembered the teleportation formation. After remembering how the card is made, Yimo gave it back to Chu Kai. Sell this jade card. Don't sell for too much, 100 million immortal crystals is enough. Seeing Ji Shu and Qi Baitsang tempted, Yimo immediately said, don't buy it, your backgrounds aren't powerful enough, buying it is harming yourself. Chu Kai knew there was no other way around this. He said guiltily, Brother Yi, I'm truly sorry. I thought I would be able to get a Peng Yu immortal fruit straight up, but instead this happened. Don't worry, it's not impossible to reach Immortal King without it. Yimo patted. Chu Kai was decisive and knew the earlier he dealt with this the better. Chu Kai took out the jade card and said, I know my capabilities are limited, now I will sell a small heaven domain jade card, 100 million immortal crystals. Who wants it? Take it. I do. This is 100 million immortal crystals. Someone took out an immortal crystals card immediately. Chu Kai didn't want for a second bid and just took the immortal crystals and handed the jade card over. I'll pay 500 million immortal crystals, another bid sounded. Chu Kai didn't regret selling it for 100 million immortal crystals at all. He breathed easy instead. 100 million immortal crystals was nothing to the Great Eternity Immortals here. Brother Yi, we'll go visit Shi Yu. Qi Baitsang and them said. Chu Kai knew Yimo didn't care about this 100 million immortal crystals and didn't even take it out. He said to Yimo, Brother Yi, we've benefited something here. I'm planning to go visit other places in Qing Wei Heaven with my cousin. Yimo approved. Okay, if the opportunity arises I will go visit you guys at Jin Shong Heaven. Chapter 1776. How to enter small heaven domain. Chapter 1776. How to enter small heaven domain. What troubled Yi Mo was that he didn't know how to go in. Every jade card was extremely precious and sects would be guarding it very closely. Those people like Chu Kai would have handed it out already. Yi Mo went back to his place, even though he had many secrets, but he didn't know how to go in. He really wanted to discuss with Li Kuan, but he knew she was definitely protected heavily. A day later, Yi Mo decided he wasn't going to keep waiting like this. Just when he wanted to go out for a walk, the restriction at his door sounded. Yi Mo opened it and saw the purple-dressed female immortal and asked in shock, "Am I Yun Saint? How did you get out at this time?" Mi Yun immediately came in and put on the restriction before saying, "Why can't I come out? The ethereal immortal pond got 2 jade cards this time and they're not on me. Who dares offend the ethereal immortal pond?" Yi Mo thought about it and agreed. "What business do you have with me? Your ethereal immortal pond immortal monarch Qian Beis are all here, coming here again." Mi Yun smiled, "Because someone reported me, so my master knows about me coming to you on the immortal ship. So, I might as well not hide it. By the way, my master is very interested in you. Would you be interested in coming to see my master?" Yi Mo's heart was shook. What did Mi Yun's master want to see him for? Her master would at least be immortal monarch. He wouldn't dare to go see an immortal monarch alone. Thinking about this, Yi Mo quickly waved his hand. "I like being alone. I would be very rude seeing Qian Bei. I won't go." Mi Yun seemed to know Yi Mo didn't want to see her master and said, "Martial brother Yi, after I cultivated your stealth cultivation method, I realized I'm a frog at the bottom of a well. There's such wonderful cultivation method, it's probably immortal grade peak, right?" Yi Mo's face sunk. What Mi Yun mean by saying this? Mi Yun didn't seem to see Yi Mo's complexion and continued, "By the way, Martial brother Yi, I heard there's an extremely huge social tonight at Hongyu Immortal City. You know the immortal monarch selling the 5 Elemton stone stool on the ship? It said he's participating this auction." Yi Mo was shocked. Why did she say this? Did she realize he was interested in the stone stool? Plus, this immortal monarch dared to sell that stone stool publicly here. Did he not want to live? There were so many immortal emperors here. Which immortal emperor didn't know 5-element stone stools involved the chaos world? Yi Mo didn't believe an immortal monarch wouldn't realize this. Since he still dared to do this, it meant that he wasn't afraid of immortal emperors. "I want to go see the auction. Are you willing to go? If so, we can go together." Mi Yun suddenly looked at Yi Mo and asked again. Yi Mo didn't know what she meant and shook his head. "I didn't get the right to go small heaven domain. I'm planning to leave here tomorrow. As for the auction, I'm not interested." Yi Mo had decided to send Li Kuan a message and leave immediately, seeing that Mi Yun mentioned the stone stool and her master wanted to see him. Mi Yun fell silent for a while and said, "I thought you were interested in that 5-element stone stool. It seems I saw wrong, but I can tell you for sure that even if it's an immortal emperor, he wouldn't really be selling it. The 5-element stone stool is 100% fake. The seller also knows that others would be able to realize this. This person wants everyone to know the real one is on him." "Why?" Yi Mo subconsciously asked, but immediately realized what was going on. "My master said that this person is quite possibly a half-divine. He might be desperate to vindicate Tao. If the 5-element stone stools gather, he can vindicate Tao through the 5 elements even if he doesn't have a chaos world. A truth spirit world would be enough." Mi Yun explained. Yi Mo realized, if Mi Yun's master knew this, the other immortal emperors definitely knew this too. Unless there was an immortal emperor who didn't want to live, no one would dare to go find this guy. If someone went to this guy, he would definitely think the other stone stools are on this person and take it. That person would also keep an eye on those who seemed the slightest interested in him. Realizing this, Yi Mo was definitely not going to the auction. "I heard there's also a low-grade god artifact and a half-god artifact in the auction." Mi Yun's words made Yi Mo vigilant again. He got a low-grade god artifact pill cauldron. He didn't know if Hu Arushua could tell or not. It seemed he needed to leave quickly. Seeing this, Mi Yun knew that Yi Mo probably wanted to go even more. She bit her lips and suddenly said, "Martial brother Yi, if I can bring you into the small heaven domain, you, what?" Yi Mo dazed. She could take him into the small heaven domain under the eyes of a few immortal emperor. "That's right, I can take you in," Mi Yun said calmly. Yimo asked calmly. Whether or not you can even bring me in is one thing, but why are you helping me? If I say I suddenly like you and want to help you, would you believe it? Yun said calmly. Yimo smiled no. Yun didn't care but instead took out the jade slip Yimo gave her and looked at it. You said this stealth cultivation method is slightly different to the one you use, I'm thinking. Seeing her look at him, Yimo sneered. So you want mine stealth cultivation method? Yes, I don't know if the one you're using is better, but I really need a powerful stealth cultivation method like this. Even if I don't stay saint and pay everything I have, I'm willing to. Yun stared at Yimo and said adamantly. Yimo guessed that she probably had big plans, but it had nothing to do with him. He was thinking if she could really bring him into the small heaven domain, it wasn't impossible for him to give her the stealth cultivation method. I also know you have a good body refinement cultivation method, don't even think about it, I won't agree. Yimo interrupted. Tell me about how you can bring me in. Yimo said. I have a small world. Yimo shook his head in disappointment before she finished, she was too naive. Small world, truth spirit world were completely different to chaos world. Chaos world could be hidden in the depth of the sea of consciousness. As long as someone's spirit sense didn't reach there, they wouldn't be able to know, but the small world and truth spirit world were different. It could only be turned into a bracelet or ring to be worn. It was impossible to hide it from an immortal emperor's spirit sense. Yun said, I will hang it on my chest, even if the immortal emperor notices it, he wouldn't ask me to take it out. I believe I wouldn't be the only one using small world to bring people in. How could Feng Kong Grand Emperor not think of this? But he didn't mention it, so it means he allows it. Even if it fails, I'll let you out and you wouldn't lose anything. Yimo sneered, not lose anything? As soon as he came out of the small world, the immortal emperors would check him with spirit sense immediately. Plus, I haven't spirit controlled my small world. Suddenly, Yimo had an idea. Yupong hearing this. Chapter 1777, The Stressed Female Immortal on the Streets. Chapter 1777, The Stressed Female Immortal on the Streets. Martial sister Yun, I have a way, but I don't know if you will agree to it. Yimo thought and said. This way was best for Li Kuan to do, but he couldn't even see her right now. Tell me, if I can do it I won't disagree. Yun immediately said. Yimo said without hesitation, you need to give me your jade card first. I'll go out the city and after 7 or 8 days come outside to meet me. Then I'll tell you how to bring me in. Of course, if you don't trust me then never mind. Of course I trust you. Yun said and then gave a jade card to Yimo. It's here. As for the rendezvous point, you can tell me later. You didn't hand up your jade card. Yimo looked at her dazedly. Yun said proudly, hand it up. Who here needs me to hand up something? Yimo immediately realized. The saint had extremely high status in ethereal immortal pond. If she wasn't willing, no one could force her to hand it out. She didn't need to worry about giving the jade card to him. Even if he wanted to take it, it was impossible, as 10 days later, those going to the small heaven domain would gather together. You wouldn't even know where the small heaven domain would be. The two exchanged communication beads. After she left, Yimo immediately checked out of his room. As the #1 city of Qingwei Heaven and the place of the Heaven Lord Estate, this place was very prosperous, and even more now due to the Pengyu fruit social. Yimo felt there were too many people on the streets, but he didn't have the mood to admire this prosperity. He needed to go to a rather large merchant tower in here. At this time, everyone merchant tower was full. Things were constantly sold and taken in. Yimo barely squeezed to the front, and before he spoke, the attendant asked immortal friend, may I ask what you need? Yimo breathed and said, I want some truth abyssal mud. With this, the surrounding quietened down immediately. The attendant smiled bitterly. Immortal friend, nice joke. Our Hao-Wei immortal tower isn't small in here, but we don't have something as precious as truth abyssal mud. Even the top-grade immortal tower such as Hongsheng immortal tower wouldn't have such things. Then, the attendant looked at Yimo vigilantly, clearly thinking Yimo was here to cause trouble. Yimo cursed himself for being so impulsive. How could something as precious as the truth abyssal mud be bought at regular merchant towers? Even the lowest grade truth abyssal mud he bought on that ship cost 200 million immortal crystals, and this was because the seller was desperate for immortal crystals and sold it for a low price. His truth abyssal mud here would at least be 1 billion immortal crystals here. My bad. Yi Mo saluted with his fists and quickly left. He suddenly regretted using all the truth abyssal mud he had before. Yi Mo only walked for a few hundred meters and noticed something wrong. He seemed to be watched. Yi Mo just wanted to turn around when a voice sounded by his ear. If friend wants to talk, we can find a place, I have something good for you. Yi Mo's spirit sense immediately saw a great eternity immortal peak stage woman. She looked pretty but seemed a little stressed. This female immortal definitely followed him out of the merchant tower. Yi Mo could guess why she came up to him and said okay, lead the way. Someone coming to him at this time would definitely be for the truth abyssal mud. Plus, even if this was outside, he wouldn't be afraid of a great eternity immortal peak stage. The female immortal led the way, and 5 minutes later, she took Yi Mo to a room in a distant spirit rest tower. Yi Mo kept watch. This place was far off, but the city was filled with people everywhere. She wasn't ordinary to be able to find a room at this moment. After entering the room, the female immortal put on restriction and said to Yi Mo, immortal friend, Hongling invited you over suddenly, please forgive me. Yi Mo scanned this room, and after confirming there was nothing wrong with it, he said, what business does Hongling goddess have calling me over? Yi Mo didn't say his name. Hongling didn't mind and signaled Yi Mo to sit and said, you cultivated spirit will 9 transformations? Yi Mo suddenly got up and looked coldly at this great eternity immortal, saying coldly, who are you? You cultivated spirit will 9 transformations indeed, but it seems a different to the one I know. If you spirit will 9 transformations progresses one more step, I would have been able to feel it even if I'm standing next to you. Hongling sighed. She was a great eternity immortal peak stage, so she wouldn't be afraid of Yi Mo, of course. Yi Mo was very shocked. Every little people knew he cultivated spirit will 9 transformations unless he attacked. How did Hongling know? He didn't use spirit sense attack on anyone, he just used spirit sense to protect himself. Was there a flaw in his spirit will 9 transformations? Hongling waved her hand, immortal friend, don't worry, regardless how you got your spirit will 9 transformations, I have no ill will for you. And your spirit will 9 transformations is different, once you reach great eternity immortal tertiary stage or if you reach 4th transformation. Not even my master would be able to know. Hongling paused and said, I invited you to do a deal with you. Yi Mo interrupted her answer 2 questions. First, who are you? Second, how did you know I cultivated spirit will 9 transformations, otherwise there will be no deal. Hongling shook her head, you're only great eternity immortal primary stage, but your tone is this impulsive. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to take it, but your character is quite similar to our young master. However, there's no way I'm going to tell you who I am. As for how I know you have spirit will 9 transformations, I can't tell you either. Then sorry. Yi Mo didn't want to have anything to do with her now. It's not so easy to go. Hongling got up and the space nearby seemed to have slowed. The next moment, she released a red band that covered the entire room. Don't worry, I won't kill you, she said, but before she finished, she was dazed. Immediately, there was terror in her eyes. She the great eternity immortal primary stage wasn't affected by the red band at all, and instantly a terrifying lethal force swept over at her. Space wasn't under her control anymore. This punch seemed to have come from the void and released incessant destruction. Soon, it formed a lethal force whirlpool and swept her completely away. The red band quickly changed direction and covered her body again. If she was dragged in, she would die for certain. How was there such a terrifying great eternity immortal? Was this person an immortal king? Otherwise, there was no way she would be in the definite lower hand in one clash. Don't attack, I didn't mean to kill you. Hongling called in her terror. Yi Mo sneered and the lethal force disappeared. Hongling fell hard onto the ground. At this moment, she heard Yi Mo say, if you had killing intent before you would be long gone. Now tell me how you know I have spirit will 9 transformations. The flaw to his cultivation method was the most important thing to him. Chapter 1778, Loyal Maid. Chapter 1778. Loyal Maid Hong Ling got up in shock and wiped the sweat from her forehead. She had never seen a great eternity immortal as insane as Yi Mo in her hundreds of thousands of years of cultivation. Even her young master was far from this great eternity immortal. She quickly cast these thoughts aside and saluted with her fists to Yi Mo before setting up a few sound restrictions. Seeing that it was too ordinary, Yi Mo casually waved out a few even powerful ones and said, "No one can listen in now, speak." Seeing this, she was extremely shocked. Even Immortal Formation Great Master would need some Formation God artifact to be able to do it this easily. But she had seen a lot and even Divine Emperor, so she quickly collected her mood and said, "Have you heard of Wushuang Immortal Emperor?" Yi Mo realized, Wushuang Immortal Emperor's most powerful feature was the spirit sense cultivation method. Did she belong to Wushuang Immortal Emperor? Perhaps Wushuang Immortal Emperor created Spirit Will 9 transformations. I heard he was ambushed by more than 10 Immortal Emperor and he killed 9 before fleeing. Yi Mo nodded. Hong Ling's eyes went red, her mood became agitated. "I wanted to ask if you were related to Wushuang Immortal Emperor." Wushuang Immortal Emperor cultivated Spirit Will 9 transformations. Where did you get Spirit Will 9 transformations? As though fearing misunderstanding, Hong Ling quickly said, "I cultivated Spirit Will 9 transformations. It's very good to use it with corner soul weed. I did this too, so I can sense those who used corner soul weed to cultivate Spirit Will 9 transformations." Hong Ling then gave Yi Mo a jade slip. Yi Mo had a look and his face changed. This was the Spirit Will 9 transformations. He only got 4 transformations, but this was the entire thing. On top of that, he realized why his Spirit Will 9 transformations Kai was spilling. He derived his own Spirit Will 9 transformations, but after seeing this complete Spirit Will 9 transformations, he only needed some time to derive it again. In just a short while, Yi Mo repaired his Spirit Will 9 transformations and the spilling Kai was gone. Your Spirit Will 9 transformations Kai is gone? Hong Ling felt it immediately and was dumbfounded. Just who was this? He completely fixed the flaw in his Spirit Will 9 transformations in just 10 seconds. Yi Mo gave the jade slip back to her, "Thanks." Hong Ling didn't take it and continued, "I don't know what your name is, but seeing that you're an honest person you can keep it. I just want you to answer my question. Of course I will tell you who I am." Yi Mo smiled, "I indeed cultivated Spirit Will 9 transformations, but it's different to yours. I'll keep cultivating mine. I'm Yi Mo, if you have anything just ask." Yi Mo guessed a little about Hong Ling's identity and didn't feel so revolted. Hong Ling took the jade slip and said, "Immortal friend, you can probably guess. My master is Tianxing Grand Emperor. My master created the Spirit Will 9 transformations. My young mistress is called Yu He. My young master is Mu Wushuang." Yi Mo understood. Hong Ling was Mu Wushuang's maid. No wonder she was hiding in here. She probably wanted to scout information about Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor. Wushuang Immortal Emperor died to Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor. She had never forgotten about this, but the difference between her and Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor was too great. Yi Mo guessed she would never be able to catch up her entire life. Hong Ling said dejectedly, "When my master was ambushed, he was half divine already. My master really liked young Master Wushuang, but there was one flaw about him, and that was he liked too many girls. If it wasn't due to this, my master would definitely let Wushuang young master inherit him. Due to him having too many girls, the master didn't agree to the wedding between him and the young mistress." Hong Ling continued, "Wushuang young master's character is very stubborn. He adamantly refused to give up on his other concubines, so he left Tianxing Mountain, but the young mistress really loves Wushuang young master. She took me and left Tianxing Mountain secretly and found young master Wushuang. In time, the master wasn't going to keep caring about this and they slowly started connecting again, but at this time, Wushuang young master was ambushed and young mistress disappeared." Hearing this, he couldn't help sighing how ruthless Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor was. Even Mu Wushuang's concubines were gone. At the time of the incident, I was serving the master at Tianxing Mountain. The master immediately headed to Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor wanting to bring back young mistress, but master never came out again. I didn't dare to stay at Tianxing Mountain. After leaving, I roamed outside for tens of thousands of years before coming back to Hongyu Immortal City wanting to find out about young mistress and master. But my talent is limited, and even after all these years I could only stay at Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage. I wasn't able to find out anything. Hearing this, Yi Mo had great respect for Hong Ling. Pardon my rudeness before, martial sister Hong Ling, what do you need to ask me of? Yi Mo saluted with his fists. Seeing this, Hong Ling dazed, but soon she realized what Yi Mo thought. Yi Mo respected her character and she felt very grateful. She was prepared for the worst before, but now it seemed Yi Mo wasn't going to report her in and instead treated her with respect. She felt very grateful and relived. All these years, no one knew her hardship and what she did, but for once, her heart resonated with Yi Mo. Brother Yi, Hong Ling beg that if one day you reach Divine Emperor, take Hong Ling to the Heaven Lord estate and see if my mistress and master is still there. Hong Ling knelt down. Yi Mo quickly pulled her up. Martial sister Hong Ling, I'm only Great Eternity Immortal Primary Stage, still very far from Immortal King, much less Divine Emperor. I might disappoint you. No, Brother Yi, you're the most talented Great Eternity Immortal I've ever seen, no one can surpass you. I trust my eyes, you will be able to reach the peak of the Immortal Realm. If you're willing to help ask about my mistress and master, Hong Ling is willing to be your maid forever. Hong Ling said pitifully. Yi Mo fell silent for a while and said, no need to be my maid, my spirit will 9 transformations didn't come directly from your master, but it still originated from him. If I have the ability, I will help go check for you. Seeing Hong Ling about to kneel again, Yi Mo waved his hand. I don't know how many years this will be, so don't be hopeful. If I don't have the ability, I would never go to the Heaven Lord estate. And, you're much older than me, just call me Martial Brother Yi. Yes, Martial Brother Yi. Hong Ling said, I've waited a few 100,000 years, how could I care about waiting for tens of thousands of years? This is the question you want to ask me? Yi Mo asked. Hong Ling quickly said, no, I wanted to ask Martial Brother Yi where you got your spirit will 9 transformations. Yi Mo nodded. You want to know where Wushuang Immortal Emperor is, right? Yes. Hong Ling said, I have a feeling that young master isn't dead, but it had been a few 100,000 years and there is still no news of him. I've been to Chaos Star Realm, but I found nothing there. Yi Mo hesitated for a moment and said, Martial sister Hong Ling, I suspect your young master isn't dead, he's recovering in the Chaos Star Realm, but it's probably not easy for him to completely recover. Don't have too much hope for this. Although he almost died at Chaos Star Realm, Yi Mo didn't mind too much. Mu Wushuang didn't target him. Hong Ling looked at Yi Mo in surprise and joy. Yi Mo waved his hand. You don't need to go find your young master, it's not good for either of you. Hong Ling bowed to Yi Mo. Thank you, immortal friend Yi, Hong Ling knows. Hong Ling said again, Martial Brother Yi, do you want Truth Abyssal Mud? Yi Mo quickly said, yes, I need it. Do you have it, Martial sister Hong Ling? Hong Ling shook her head. No, but I know where there is. The auction tonight will have it, but the price will be shocking. Yi Mo dazed. He didn't want to go to the auction, but now it came to it again. Should he go or not? If he didn't have the Golden Page World nor the Stone Stools, Yi Mo would go to the auction, but now he didn't want to. Although if he didn't focus on the stone stool he wouldn't be noticed, but what if he was unlucky and that guy scanned him with spirit sense? If he didn't have the Golden Page World nor the Stone Stools, Yi Mo would go to the auction, but now he didn't want to. Although if he didn't focus on the stone stool he wouldn't be noticed, but what if he was unlucky and that guy scanned him with spirit sense? Seeing Yi Mo in silence, Hong Ling thought Yi Mo didn't have immortal crystals, so she immediately said, the Truth Abyssal Mud is indeed very expensive. I have 60 million immortal crystals. These can't even buy a corner of the Truth Abyssal Mud, but having even just 1 extra immortal crystals would be good in an action. Seeing this, Yi Mo dazed. Hong Ling was a Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage and had spent so many years in the city, but she only had this much immortal crystals. It really wasn't much for a Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage. Even some wealthy abstruse immortals had more than this. Yi Mo waved his hand. I have immortal crystals. The Truth Abyssal Mud is very precious. I'm afraid people would come for me if I buy it. This is easy. I have a mask. Hong Ling took out a thin mask and gave it to Yi Mo. There were too many powerful beings in the immortal realm, and so Yi Mo never bought some mask after he came to the immortal realm. He didn't even forge one himself. As soon as he touched this mask, Yimo knew it was extreme-grade immortal artifact. Because the materials inside masks were the most precious and the forgery process was extremely difficult, masks were more expensive than pill cauldrons and flying immortal artifact. Hong Ling didn't have a lot of immortal crystals. How could she possess such a precious mask? Hong Ling seemed to know what Yimo thought and sighed. After knowing my master was in trouble, I snuck back to Tianshan Mountain and took some valuable things. However, Wei Yifeng, that bastard, still found the mountain a few years later. Yimo nodded and simply spirit-controlled the mask and wore it. His Kai immediately changed and he could change his face however he liked. Okay, let me borrow this mask, but next time we cannot meet here. Yimo thought the stone stools definitely won't be found in his sea of consciousness. Was that person going to use spirit sense to crush his sea of consciousness? Even the most dominant guy wouldn't crush the sea of consciousness of every guy at the auction. As long as he paid no attention to the stone stool, no one would keep an eye on him. Yimo sighed. That small heaven domain was too important to him. Otherwise, he really didn't want to go to this auction. There were chaos items in there. If he could move it all to his golden page world, then his world would be perfected even more. There was only one such opportunity. Hong Ling immediately nodded. After all these years, I know my current power is too weak. It's impossible to find out about things at the Heaven Lord estate. Now that I know young master isn't dead, I can rest assured. I will leave Qing Wei Heaven and search for fortunes. As for this mask, I don't need it, you can keep it. Hearing this, Yimo immediately said, after I'm done with things here I will be going to Jin Shong Heaven Yu Ren Immortal Residence. If you can go to Jin Shong Heaven you can meet me there. Yimo said this because he thought he might get Peng Yu Immortal Fruit. If he could get it, he wouldn't mind giving her a Yi King pill. Then, Yimo gave her 2 dual spirit pills. You cultivate the spirit will 9 transformations. Dual spirit pill should be useful to you. Hong Ling didn't reject. She took it and left this immortal rest tower with Yimo. 2 hours later, Hong Ling took the teleportation formation to leave the city. Meanwhile, Yimo changed into a coarse-looking Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary stage and went into the auction. This auction was indeed extremely huge. The entrance price was a huge sum, 500k immortal crystals just for the worst position. Only 1 million immortal crystals would get you a slightly better place. Ordinary rooms cost 5 million. Pretty much all the immortals who came here were very wealthy. When Yimo came, the price rose to 6 million a room. Yimo threw out 8 million and got an ordinary room, C453. After going in, Yimo checked with his spirit sense carefully. There were spirit sense shielding formation all around the room, but the formation was set up in a special way that other people couldn't scan their spirit sense in, but the people inside could scan their spirit sense out. Yimo frowned. He didn't like this way of auction. He liked a display formation so the participants wouldn't need to use spirit sense and could see everything in their room. This method of auction could allow the participants' spirit sense to touch the items, but it would also disclose spirit sense information. Yimo soon guessed that the auctioneer did this on purpose, or the person selling the stone stool was doing this on purpose. The spirit sense barrier formation also had some flaws. It couldn't stop all the spirit sense coming in. Yimo breathed, but he didn't fix these backdoors. There was teleportation formation in a corner of the room. One could use this to go outside onto the square whenever he wanted to. Yimo used the 3-birth chant and completely suppressed his emotions. Then he poured himself some immortal spirit Kai tea and waited for the beginning of the auction. 4 hours later, a black-robed old man appeared on the immortal jade table. Yimo could tell his power was immortal monarch primary stage. He just stood there and didn't even scan his spirit sense out, but his force dominated the scene. The immortal monarch nodded and said, "Many people know me. I'm Hey You Immortal Monarch." Many immortals got up and bowed. Hey You Immortal Monarch pressed with his hand, "Everyone sit down. This auction is the biggest auction in 10,000 years of Qing Wei Heaven." Using the opportunity of the Peng Yu Fruit Social and the opening of the small heaven domain, many people have come. No matter why you have come, the Hong Yu Immortal City welcomes you, but at the auction, everyone has to follow the rules. I won't talk too much. The auction begins now. Hopefully everyone can get what they want. Then, Hey you immortal monarch sat on the side and an extremely beautiful great eternity immortal female immortal got up. She bowed and said sweetly, the first item is a level 7 immortal spirit herb when tiger beast core, starting bid 10 million immortal crystals, each increment must be no lower than 1 million. This was extremely valuable in the immortal realm and immediately bidding sounds began. Soon, it was bought by an immortal in a room with 53 million immortal crystals. There was one level 8 immortal spirit herb that Yi Mo was interested, but he resisted the urge. He didn't want anyone to notice him. If he bid, it would have to be the truth abyssal mud. The next item is defensive magic artifact octagonal cauldron. It's lacking a lid, but it's definitely on par with the best extreme grade immortal artifact. If that lid is found, this octagonal cauldron would be near god artifact. Of course this is just a guess. The starting price is 80 million. Each increment must be no lower than 5 million. Yi Mo was shocked. The real octagonal cauldron has appeared. Should he buy it? Yi Mo lacked a defensive magic artifact and this octagonal cauldron was too perfect for him. The only pity was that it was lacking a lid, but then again, if it was complete, it wouldn't be this price. Yi Mo lacked a defensive magic artifact and this octagonal cauldron was too perfect for him. The only pity was that it was lacking a lid, but then again, if it was complete, it wouldn't be this price. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense out. It was exactly the same as his damaged one. The reason this octagonal cauldron dropped to an extreme grade immortal artifact was not because its quality wasn't high enough, but it was lacking a lid and the cauldron itself was damaged. Even so, the price soon rose to 160 million. Many people could see its flaws just like Yi Mo. When the price rose to 180 million, the people bidding became less. This price was not cheap for this broken extreme grade immortal artifact. 200 million. Yi Mo bidded. The octagonal cauldron was very good in defense, he liked it. Yi Mo would rather have octagonal cauldron than a pristine extreme grade defensive immortal artifact. Yi Mo's price was far beyond the value of the cauldron, so no one bidded again in the palace. Yi Mo breathed easy. 205 million. Just when Yi Mo thought the octagonal cauldron was his, another bid sounded. 210 million. Yi Mo sighed. If the person was going to keep bidding, he wouldn't have it anymore. If he kept competing with him, it would be offending that person. Now, wasn't a wise time to do so. However, what confused Yi Mo was that no one bidded after he made that bid. It was as tough the person just wanted him to pay an extra 10 million. As the hammer fell, Yi Mo bought this octagonal cauldron with 210 million immortal crystals. Moments later, a female immortal carrying the octagonal cauldron came to Yi Mo's room. Yi Mo paid them and checked the octagonal cauldron before putting it back into this storage ring. At the same time, he felt a few spirit sense can on him. Yi Mo didn't seem to notice this, he just kept watching the next item. There were so many loopholes in the spirit sense barrier formation of this room. Some stronger people could easily scan in. Later on, even a half-god artifact appeared and a few top materials, but Yi Mo resisted his urge to buy. He also began to worry, if the truth abyssal mud came too late, he wouldn't have time to do what he needed to. Yi Mo really wanted the truth abyssal mud to come first before the 5-element stool. However, after half a day, the great eternity immortal female immortal carried a stone stool and put it on the table. Yi Mo almost couldn't control himself seeing but luckily he was prepared. The instant he saw it, he knew it was real, not fake. Yi Mo knew this moment he was in extreme danger. His glance turned into one that of confusion, bewilderment. His spirit sense scanned around on this stone stool. Yi Mo knew if he took back his eyes immediately or had the slightest emotions, he would be a target of heavy investigation. Indeed, when Yi Mo was looking at the stone stool, a subtle spirit sense scanned past him and even stopped for a while. If he deigned to cultivate the 3-birth chant, he would never feel it. This definitely wasn't immortal monarch power, Yi Mo knew immediately, but he didn't care about it. He kept studying the stool with interest. Caring too much or too little about the stool would both be targets of investigation. How could Yi Mo not know this? Unlike before, the great eternity immortal said nothing after taking the stool out. If he didn't cultivate the 3-birth chant, he would have been exposed. Even the slightest emotional waves wouldn't go undetected by that spirit sense. If someone else had the stools, he would have been exposed. No matter if people had the stools or not, they would seem more or less excited. The person behind all this would determine the degree of excitement and compare it to their attitude towards the stool. After a while, the great eternity immortal smiled. Many people don't know what this stone stool is. Let me introduce now. It has another name called Chaos 5 Elements. It's a water element stone stool. Whether you have small world or truth spirit world, with the Chaos 5 Elements, your world would improve a level or even grade. Hearing this, the place went into rupture. Who didn't want this? With this, Emo also showed excitement. At this moment, that subtle spirit sense scanned him again. Moments later, the spirit sense disappeared. Emo knew he was out of danger for now. That spirit sense wanted to find who really had the stone stool. He definitely wouldn't stop there. I believe many people know more about the Chaos 5 Elements than me. I can only say this much, however, this 5-element stool is incomplete. There is only a water element. Although this would greatly depreciate its value, but if you have the power to store it, then perhaps one day you might find a second one. The great eternity immortal then smiled because the 5 elements are incomplete. This stone stool isn't very price. The bottom price is 1.5 billion and a middle grade immortal range. Each increment must be no lower than 100 million immortal crystals. Not everyone like Emo knew this was a bait. Although no one could afford this price on the immortal ship, people here immediately bidded. 16 immortal crystals plus a middle grade immortal range. Emo calmed his face. He knew he didn't need to keep acting. If he was still excited at such a high price, it meant he was interested in this. As soon as Emo calmed his face, that subtle spirit sense scanned him again. Emo breathed easy. This guy was definitely a psychologist. He was lucky to have guessed the mentality of this person and had the 3-birth chant to protect him, thus he wouldn't be suspected. There was too many wealthy people in Ching Wei heaven. The price was soon raised to 2 billion and 2 middle-grade immortal range. These people weren't dumb, they just didn't know the stone stool had been to many auctions. When the price of 2 billion and 1 extreme-grade immortal range, Emo knew the owner of the stone stool intervened. The auction was still going on. A handsome great eternity immortal in a 71 room suddenly got up. Marshal uncle, should I send someone to wait outside in case that person suddenly leaves? The auction was still going on. A handsome great eternity immortal in a 71 room suddenly got up. Marshal uncle, should I send someone to wait outside in case that person suddenly leaves? The square-faced man sneered. Want to leave from my spirit sense, ph. But you're right, I can't watch him constantly. Send. Suddenly, the square-faced man's face changed. He got up and cursed, such a cunning bastard. What happened? The handsome great eternity immortal suddenly had a bad feeling. This person just left. Send people after him immediately. The marshal uncle's face looked very bad. He just slapped himself in the face. The handsome great eternity immortal immediately got up and said to 2 middle-aged men, come out with me now. I'm going to catch that guy even if he runs to the ends of the heavens. When Emo was teleported to the square, he left immediately. Just instantly, he changed his face and all his clothes. A few seconds later, he had disappeared amidst the crowd and left the city. 5 minutes later, Emo released space-time boat. 4 hours later, Emo stopped in a dense forest. This was very far from Hongyu Immortal City. Emo believed that even Immortal Emperor wouldn't be able to find him if he didn't know when he left. His time was limited, he didn't need to keep flying. Just in case, Emo used his location as the center and released the space-time boat to fly in 4 directions each for 5 minutes and left extremely subtle stealth surveillance formations there. These formations were marked on ordinary stones by him or on some leaves. Emo believed that even if Immortal Emperor scanned with spirit sense, he wouldn't notice the formations unless he specifically looked for them. If he saw that he was being followed on the formation discs, he would rather not come out of the golden page world. Even if Mi Yun thought he stole the jade card, he wouldn't care. Compared to his life, everything else didn't matter. After he had done these, Emo went back to where he was before. He found a big tree and went into the bottom of the tree. Then he set up an extremely stealthed formation and went inside the golden page world. Yimo set up the time formation disk and then took out that truth abyssal mud. He didn't even need this much, but he couldn't go negotiate with people saying he only needed a little. This mud was indeed top grade, very good top grade. It was so many times better than the big piece he got before. He then took out the jade card Yun gave him. He studied the teleportation formation inside the card. Yimo believed that if he had half a year to study this jade card, he would be able to become level 6 immortal formation Great Master and forge one exactly like this. He had half a year's time as he had the time formation disk. To him, there was still 2 or 3 years before he went into the small heaven domain. Even if he could forge the exact same jade card, Yimo wouldn't be really dumb enough to do that. He was going to use this sliver of mud to mark some runes on the teleportation formation. Yimo believed that if he fused the formation Kai into it, one could have to take a good look at the jade card to be able to see it. He didn't believe the immortal emperors would check carefully the jade card they gave out. Inside the time formation disk, half a year passed quickly. Yimo had been studying the teleportation formation in the jade card. He rarely used so much time to study an ordinary teleportation formation disk. But this involved the small heaven domain, so he had to be careful. Half a year later, Yimo not only derived every step of drawing the formation but also found a spirit sense mark inside the teleportation formation disk. He was very sensitive to these spirit sense marks due to the middle-aged man hiding it in the star core flame. This meant that even if you could forge the exact same jade card, it wouldn't be real without the mark. Yimo didn't touch this mark. He started to repair the teleportation formation inside and added a sliver of truth abyssal mud formation rune into it. This was very simple to Yimo. He could be done within half a month, but the hardest part was cleansing the Kai of the truth abyssal mud and fusing it into the jade card completely. Even though Yimo was an immortal forgery grandmaster and near immortal formation grandmaster, he needed to use 3 birth chant to derive this and slowly make it. This would at least take a year or so to not touch the mark. The auction at Hongyu Immortal City was very exciting. There was not only low-grade god artifact in these 5 days but also all sorts of top-grade things. The 5-element stool was sold for 1 extreme-grade immortal range and billions of immortal crystals. Seeing that the auction was about to end, in a subtle room a purple-robed man frowned. Those who scanned with spirit sense would know this person was the final buyer of the stone stool. He carefully thought about the specifies of before. Quite a lot of people came to this auction and he investigated every one of them. According to his experience, these people probably didn't have stone stool. Their reactions were what he expected. Some people were watching him with spirit sense but he didn't care. He was even waiting to see who would hunt him after he left the city. By his side was a man who stood like a servant to him. The purple-robed man thought for a long while before asking Ji Liang, "Do you have anything to add?" The man bowed. "Master, the Great Eternity Immortal Tertiary stage in D453 is slightly suspicious." "Oh, how so?" the purple-robed man asked. He checked that coarse-looking man in D453 room. He seemed very normal. But he knew his servant was also very meticulous. He had been with him for a few 100,000 years and would sometimes notice things he didn't notice. Ji Liang answered he bought a broken extreme-grade immortal artifact octagonal cauldron. A 71 room competed with him but it wasn't intense. Later on the truth abyssal mud appeared and the two fought over it heavily. Eventually D453 bought it with many times the value of the mud. The purple-robed man nodded. He knew this and said continue. "Yes." Ji Liang continued. The Great Eternity Immortal in D453 suddenly added 300 million to buy the truth abyssal mud. It seems he's acting in arrogance and competition, but just then I felt things didn't seem to be so. "Oh," the purple-robed man showed a serious attitude. Ji Liang continued. His seemingly actions of impulse made a 71 room give up the fight. But the master of a 71 is the young master of Sword Abstruse Emperor sect. Someone stole what he wanted twice, making him very annoyed. This young master has an immortal monarch with him. I know that immortal monarch. He has a good spirit sense cultivation method and could watch people without people noticing. So that immortal monarch was constantly watching the Great Eternity Immortal in D453. The purple-robed man seemed to understand and his breathing went heavy. Continue. But D453 had no intention to leave and seemed very interested in the things later on. But as soon as the immortal monarch's spirit sense moved away, the great eternity immortal left immediately. The purple-robed man calmed down and said coldly, "You're saying this person knows about us checking him with spirit sense?" The purple-robed man didn't need Ji Liang to answer anymore. Now, he felt that great eternity immortal was a little strange. The time frame of him being excited and calm seemed a little too accurate. Investigate where this person is immediately. The purple-robed man got up and said. He no longer had the mood to stay here. Investigate where this person is immediately. The purple-robed man got up and said. He no longer had the mood to stay here. He didn't expect he used all that effort and let the real suspect escape under his eyes. Yimo didn't know the owner of the stone stool was also looking for him. But even if he did, he wouldn't care. Seeing the jade card in his hands, Yimo was very satisfied. He used less than 2 years and finished this intricate task. There was still 3 days before the small heaven domain opened up. After putting away the time formation disk, Yimo had decided to leave the golden page world, but then he noticed that there was a slight shaking from one of the surveillance formations he set up before. Yimo immediately resisted his urge to go out and check and instantly focused on watching. Terrifying earth-shattering scenes were shown in the surveillance formation. As earth and rubbles were flipped over, a purple-robed man appeared in the surveillance formation. There was also a middle-aged man in front of him. Yimo couldn't tell the power of the man, but he was certain it wasn't below Immortal Monarch. Yimo couldn't hear the sound as the surveillance formation was too far away. Yimo didn't understand lip reading either, but he could guess the middle-aged man fought with the purple-robed man, but the middle-aged man was no match for the purple-robed man. Thinking about this, Yimo was very shocked. An Immortal Monarch couldn't even beat that purple-robed man, and he didn't even seem to break a sweat. Was this guy an Immortal Emperor? Why was an Immortal Emperor and Immortal Monarch fighting here? Such intense battle would definitely catch the attention of other Immortal Emperors. Why is there still no Immortal Emperors coming? Yimo didn't dare to watch anymore, not even through the formation disk. The Immortal Emperor spirit sense was too powerful. One slight mistake and he might be caught. Taking back his spirit sense, Yimo hid in the golden page world and didn't dare to expand his spirit sense. He just concocted a few cauldrons of flying snow pill. 2 days later, Yimo carefully checked his surveillance formation disk and found that the purple-robed man had left and the Immortal Monarch was gone. Only then did Yimo carefully leave his golden page world and put away his stealth formation. At the same time, he let out space-time boat and quickly flew towards Hongyu Immortal City. When he was near the city, Yimo put away the space-time boat and sent Mi Yun a message. 2 hours later, Mi Yun came to where Yimo was in a hurry. Yimo checked and made sure there was no one following her. Seeing Mi Yun so desperate, it was obvious she was scared Yimo tricked her. "I was so worried, you disappeared for so many days. Luckily I trusted you and didn't go ask," Mi Yun said. Yimo knew this wasn't the place to stay. He didn't notice anyone here, so then he took out the jade card to her. "Don't say anything now. I offended someone. I have to leave immediately. I won't go to the small heaven domain. If I get caught it would be very bad for me. I'll return the jade card to you. If you get more Pengyu immortal fruits, just give me on, I'll be going first." Then, there was a space ripple and Yimo disappeared. "Instant transmission?" Mi Yun repeated in a daze. Before she could react, Yimo stuffed a jade card back in her hands and disappeared. Mi Yun was too shocked. She didn't expect a mere Great Eternity Immortal primary stage could instant transmission. Instant transmission was high-level god art. How could a Great Eternity Immortal know this? The only pity was that the space ripple Yimo created was too big. It wasn't hard to find him with it. If one day Yimo could minimize it, it would be a very powerful god arts. How does he have so many powerful god arts? Just when she was still in her shock, there was another space ripple. Yimo appeared before her, and as he landed, there was even more space ripple. Yimo said apologetically, "I'll give you my stealth cultivation method first. When you come out I'll send a message to you." Then, Yimo threw Mi-Yun a jade slip and disappeared. Mi-Yun shook her head. With such space ripples, she would rather not instant transmission. Yimo breathed easy. He finally used the space ripples of a few instant transmission to slip into the teleportation rune inside the Truth Abyssal Mud. Because very little Truth Abyssal Mud was used, there was barely enough space for a person to sleep, but this was enough for Yimo. As soon as he came in, he used the 3-birth chant to stealth all his Kai. He was originally planning to tell her he was going in the Jade card, but he was afraid she would expose him. In front of an immortal emperor, a great eternity immortal didn't have much privacy at all. Seeing the jade slip Yimo gave her, it was indeed much better than what she had before. She joyfully took the jade card and slip before rushing back to Hongyu Immortal City. On the biggest square in Hongyu Immortal City, the place was filled. Today was the day to enter the small heaven domain. Although there was only 1,100 people, who didn't want to see what the small heaven domain looked like, who didn't want to know what treasures laid inside. As though knowing there would be a lot of people today, Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor appeared on the stage very early. There was a teleportation formation on the stage and a huge surveillance formation screen. As Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor came out, the other Immortal Emperors all came. This time, 12 Immortal Emperors came. Wei Yifeng stood high on the stage and saluted with his fists. Thank you friends from the Heaven Domains for coming to Qing Wei Heaven's event. Once the small heaven domain opens, there will be large amounts of top-grade materials that haven't been seen for thousands of years. Because the spot to enter is limited, we have decided to have an auction here at this square 3 days later when the prodigies come out. The auction items will be what they got in the small heaven domain. Immediately, the square's excitement soared. Immortals with large sums of immortal crystals were very excited. Some even decided to join up to buy top-grade materials. Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor nodded happily to their reaction and continued now, may the 1100 elites of the heaven domains please come up. With this, 1,100 great eternity immortals with jade cards entered the stage. Nonetheless, the huge square still seemed empty. Li Kuan scanned with her spirit sense but soon was disappointed. She didn't see her brother Yimo. Her brother didn't get the jade card. He probably left the city. Now may Dragon River Grand Emperor explain the rules of the small heaven domain and inform us which people can't go in the small heaven domain. Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor said and stood on the side. As one of the 4 Grand Emperors, Dragon River Grand Emperor seemed very ordinary looking. He walked up with a smile seeming very amicable, but everyone knew he was one of the 4 Grand Emperors. He could easily pulverize tens of Immortal City. Even a heaven domain couldn't stand his havoc. It's not easy to enter the small heaven domain. It requires 10 immortal emperors to open a portal to the void at the same time. Only then can people barely go in, so spots are limited. For fairness, those with pocket dimensional worlds please stand out or your jade card will be confiscated. Investigate where this person is immediately. The purple-robed man got up and said. He no longer had the mood to stay here. Investigate where this person is immediately. The purple-robed man got up and said. He no longer had the mood to stay here. He didn't expect he used all that effort and let the real suspect escape under his eyes. Yimo didn't know the owner of the stone stool was also looking for him. But even if he did, he wouldn't care. Seeing the jade card in his hands, Yimo was very satisfied. He used less than 2 years and finished this intricate task. There was still 3 days before the small heaven domain opened up. After putting away the time formation disk, Yimo had decided to leave the Golden Page world, but then he noticed that there was a slight shaking from one of the surveillance formations he set up before. Yimo immediately resisted his urge to go out and check and instantly focused on watching. Terrifying earth-shattering scenes were shown in the surveillance formation. As earth and rubbles were flipped over, a purple-robed man appeared in the surveillance formation. There was also a middle-aged man in front of him. Yimo couldn't tell the power of the man, but he was certain it wasn't below Immortal Monarch. Yimo couldn't hear the sound as the surveillance formation was too far away. Yimo didn't understand lip reading either, but he could guess the middle-aged man fought with the purple-robed man, but the middle-aged man was no match for the purple-robed man. Thinking about this, Yimo was very shocked. An immortal monarch couldn't even beat that purple-robed man, and he didn't even seem to break a sweat. Was this guy an immortal emperor? Why was an immortal emperor and immortal monarch fighting here? Such intense battle would definitely catch the attention of other immortal emperors. Why is there still no immortal emperors coming? Yimo didn't dare to watch anymore, not even through the formation disk. The immortal emperor spirit sense was too powerful. One slight mistake and he might be caught. Taking back his spirit sense, Yimo hid in the golden page world and didn't dare to expand his spirit sense. He just concocted a few cauldrons of flying snow pill. 2 days later, Yimo carefully checked his surveillance formation disk and found that the purple-robed man had left and the immortal monarch was gone. Only then did Yimo carefully leave his golden page world and put away his stealth formation. At the same time, he let out space-time boat and quickly flew towards Hongyu Immortal City. When he was near the city, Yimo put away the space-time boat and sent Mi Yun a message. 2 hours later, Mi Yun came to where Yimo was in a hurry. Yimo checked and made sure there was no one following her. Seeing Mi Yun so desperate, it was obvious she was scared Yimo tricked her. "I was so worried, you disappeared for so many days. Luckily I trusted you and didn't go ask," Mi Yun said. Yimo knew this wasn't the place to stay. He didn't notice anyone here, so then he took out the jade card to her. "Don't say anything now. I offended someone. I have to leave immediately. I won't go to the small heaven domain. If I get caught it would be very bad for me. I'll return the jade card to you. If you get more Pengyu immortal fruits, just give me on, I'll be going first." Then, there was a space ripple and Yimo disappeared. "Instant transmission?" Mi Yun repeated in a daze. Before she could react, Yimo stuffed a jade card back in her hands and disappeared. Mi Yun was too shocked. She didn't expect a mere Great Eternity Immortal primary stage could instant transmission. Instant transmission was high-level god art. How could a Great Eternity Immortal know this? The only pity was that the space ripple Yimo created was too big. It wasn't hard to find him with it. If one day Yimo could minimize it, it would be a very powerful god arts. How does he have so many powerful god arts? Just when she was still in her shock, there was another space ripple. Yimo appeared before her, and as he landed, there was even more space ripple. Yimo said apologetically, "I'll give you my stealth cultivation method first. When you come out I'll send a message to you." Then, Yimo threw Mi Yun a jade slip and disappeared. Mi Yun shook her head. With such space ripples, she would rather not instant transmission. Yimo breathed easy. He finally used the space ripples of a few instant transmission to slip into the teleportation rune inside the Truth Abyssal Mud. Because very little Truth Abyssal Mud was used, there was barely enough space for a person to sleep, but this was enough for Yimo. As soon as he came in, he used the 3-birth chant to stealth all his Kai. He was originally planning to tell her he was going in the jade card, but he was afraid she would expose him. In front of an immortal emperor, a Great Eternity Immortal didn't have much privacy at all. Seeing the jade slip Yimo gave her, it was indeed much better than what she had before. She joyfully took the jade card and slip before rushing back to Hongyu Immortal City. On the biggest square in Hongyu Immortal City, the place was filled. Today was the day to enter the small heaven domain. Although there was only 1,100 people, who didn't want to see what the small heaven domain looked like, who didn't want to know what treasures laid inside. As though knowing there would be a lot of people today, Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor appeared on the stage very early. There was a teleportation formation on the stage and a huge surveillance formation screen. As Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor came out, the other Immortal Emperors all came. This time, 12 Immortal Emperors came. Wei Yifeng stood high on the stage and saluted with his fists. "Thank you friends from the Heaven Domains for coming to Qing Wei Heaven's event. Once the small heaven domain opens, there will be large amounts of top-grade materials that haven't been seen for thousands of years. Because the spot to enter is limited, we have decided to have an auction here at this square 3 days later when the prodigies come out. The auction items will be what they got in the small heaven domain." Immediately, the square's excitement soared. Immortals with large sums of immortal crystals were very excited. Some even decided to join up to buy top-grade materials. Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor nodded happily to their reaction and continued now, may the 1100 elites of the heaven domains please come up. With this, 1100 great eternity immortals with jade cards entered the stage. Nonetheless, the huge square still seemed empty. Li Kuan scanned with her spirit sense but soon was disappointed. She didn't see her brother Yi Mo. Her brother didn't get the jade card. He probably left the city. Now may Dragon River Grand Emperor explain the rules of the small heaven domain and inform us which people can't go in the small heaven domain. Wei Yifeng Immortal Emperor said and stood on the side. As one of the 4 Grand Emperors, Dragon River Grand Emperor seemed very ordinary looking. He walked up with a smile seeming very amicable, but everyone knew he was one of the 4 Grand Emperors. He could easily pulverize tens of immortal city, even a heaven domain couldn't stand his havoc. It's not easy to enter the small heaven domain, it requires 10 immortal emperors to open a portal to the void at the same time. Only then can people barely go in, so spots are limited. For fairness, those with pocket dimensional worlds please stand out or your jade card will be confiscated. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.